We are back for episode 91 of the Ould Triangle podcast. As always, Andy Stevenson, Caoilte Barra, and myself, Ian O'Neill, we're here to talk all things Irish mixed martial arts, and a big weekend coming up for Irish mixed martial arts with the Cage Warriors 194 card. I know you made that mistake the last Cage Warriors card, Andy. I was laughing at your tweet, but they're coming up thick and fast now, and it's a huge one in the RDS this weekend. A trio of guests this week on the Ould Triangle podcast: Damien McKenna, Trevor Makengo, and also Jamie Abbott-Bissett, all making their first appearances on the Ould Triangle as well. So all Ould Triangle debuts this week. But, normally we start with a little bit of chit-chat and how things are going. I think, we have a jam-packed episode to get through this week. Let's get straight into it. And let's talk about the Cage Warriors card real quick. Really, really good card. But I guess the big news coming over the last couple of days, obviously at the time that we're recording this, is that Simon is without a fight right now. We're hearing that, and he posted up on his Instagram story that he's looking for a fight. Obviously, Aidan Lee has been forced to pull from that card, and it's a huge loss to the card, Andy, overall. I think we had Sol on there with us last week, and the importance of that fight in terms of the structure of the featherweight division, the title implications that this fight could have held for Sol as well. It's disappointing that the fight has fallen. Obviously, these things can happen sometimes, but hopefully all of this is going to be nothing by the time this podcast comes out and there's a fight organised. But we're recording this Sunday. It's not looking good right now.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Like, I mean, when you think about it, like Solomon, obviously the main event the unofficial main event for this fight card. I think he was primed to, if he could get a win over a guy like Aidan Lee, to really make a statement in the division. Obviously, with the in the wake of Harry Hardwick going on to the UFC, still a little bit of uncertainty as to whether he will remain in the UFC. But the champion, his last fight was not in the organization, so you would expect that there's an opportunity there to fight for a title, either against like a guy like Nick Bagley later in the year, or who knows. But it was a big moment for Solomon to kind of make that statement the same way that he did in Dublin there last earlier on in the year, and as we talked about with him on the last episode. So hopefully they get something sorted. Aidan Lee, I feel like, was a great opponent for him, given that he's previously fought for the title. We talked about all this on previous episodes. So at this time, while I would love to say, get Nick Bagley and stuff, like that's probably not happening here. We're days out, weight cuts are starting, all that stuff. So hopefully Solomon can remain on the card. But I suppose if he's not, it begs the question, what is the main event or final fight or whatever you want to call it of the night? Because there's a lot of prospects. There's a lot of brilliant fights here on the card, a lot of prospects, a lot of really exciting fighters. It's a real showcase of young Irish talent, I would say, but there's probably not a clear this is the main event if Solomon is not fighting on the card.
Yeah, for sure. And that was a question I was going to ask for you. And obviously, look, at Ian Dean always works his magic in times like this. I think the only crux of the position that Solomon is in right now is that how much a win and a loss means to him. And obviously, we a very, very good fighter, and not saying that he was going to go and take a short notice fight and lose, but there are risks to that as well, isn't there? You might go in and fight up at lightweight. He has the predicament of, does he cut weight, does he not cut weight? A penny for Ian Dean's thoughts right now. I'm sure he's scrambling to try and make something happen, but it may not be for Solomon this time, and that's for sure. That would be a pity, but hopefully something can get sorted over the coming weeks and months, and we get Solomon in there. I mean, would it be the worst idea in the world now if it didn't work out for Dublin to stick him in there with Nick Bagley eventually and fight for the title? That's what everybody wants to see. But it begs the question, Caoilte, for the RDS card right now as to who might step up. There hasn't been a main event announced, which I find is kind of a little bit strange at this stage, only 6 days out from the card. But there's a couple of other names on the card. We were kind of expecting Solomon, and he was listed at the top of the bill on the website as well. Who do you think can take up that mantle now? There's a couple of fighters there, Caoilte. Who would you like to see?
There's a couple, yeah. There's an argument for so many. You could argue some ticket sellers. You could argue, realistically, you could argue an all-Irish clash. But I think one that makes the most sense in terms of, I guess, a marquee fight or someone who is closing in on, I guess, that title picture would be Leon Hill. He's on a 2-fight win streak. I think I've all his fights outside of his debut been finishes. I think he's a good, solid record, seasoned pro at this point. I think he's the one that probably makes the most sense to step up into that main event slot if Solomon Simon doesn't get matched on the card, to be honest with you. But there's an argument first. There's so many factors here that we put into place, but I think that's the one that just on paper makes the most sense right now, to be honest with you. And I think he was also listed the second from the top on the Cage Warriors website. So maybe a bit of a cop-out answer there as well.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There is lots of options there as well. Andy, looking at the card as a whole, a fantastic card, mixed with, a lot of Cage Warriors veterans, of course, guys making their Cage Warriors debut, a couple of prospects, lots of narratives, lots of storylines coming into this one, redemption arcs, who and what are you looking forward to seeing in the card in the RDS? I mean, it's a loaded question, but I mean, any standouts or any storylines that you're most looking forward to coming into this card on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads. I mean, of course, there's a couple of all Irish clashes there, and especially we'll hear from Damien McKenna later on. I'm really looking forward to that Keith Keogh and Damien McKenna fight. I would be the biggest hypocrite ever if I didn't choose that one after calling for Irish and Irish violence the entire time. But there's when you talk about in the context of say lads who are kind of could be in that conversation of who would take the top spot. A guy like Ryan Shelley's got 9 Cage Warriors fights. I know he's 2-3 in his last 5. So, but then you look at the guys he's lost. It's like Jordy Bax and Tobias Cirilla and Nick Bagley and really solid fighters. You look at Max Lally. He's taken on Ben Ellis. I know he hasn't fought in a couple of years, but a really solid competitor there. A really good test for Max. Adam Darby, I think, is 5-1 in Cage Warriors. He's after, I think he's maybe on a 3-fight winning streak now, 3 or 4-fight winning streak, and he's after getting a finish in his last one. So he's looking really, really good. There's
you could go through the whole. You could go through the whole.
I mean, you could literally go through, there's something, to be honest, from an Irish perspective. From our perspective, it's brilliant. You've got Jamie Abbott-Bissett, Matthew Friel, all Irish clash. Kenny Muckenwan is back, looking to rebound from loss. Similar for Emer Darcy. Conor McCarthy, haven't even mentioned, who's been one of the fighters that we've been touting for many, many years now, since his early amateur days. He's got he's looking to extend his win streak. There's everyone. Trevor Makengo's debut, Gary Rooney, Stephen Costello's in action. Jerry Harris is looking to bounce back. It's going to be very interesting to see, how does Jerry Harris look, because there's bags of potential, but just the last 2 fights he's zigged when he should have zagged, and we know what kind of a crowd he brings. It'll be fucking mayhem when he walks out and the Jungle Book comes on, and look. Not generally not taking the cop-out answer here, but there's a lot to sink your teeth into here for Irish fans, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned Jared Harris there, Creech, and I'll ask you the question. I mean, I think in terms of the skill set that Jared has, and we'll talk to Jamie, and we talk to Damien, who is down in Rhino as well, and how highly they speak of someone like Jared Harris. And we know as well from watching Ger as well, and we know the level of ability that he has, which in the last couple of fights hasn't been able to translate into the cage. It feels to me obviously there is a lot of storylines here, but it feels like it's a huge night for Ger to kind of right those wrongs and kind of establish himself again in the flyweight division. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can produce as well. And from what we're hearing from the guys who've been training with him and getting prepared here as well, I think that you're getting that feeling where this could be a big performance for Ger.
Yeah, for sure. And he's on that skid at the moment, losing 2 in a row. So is Johnny Tuma, for context. So you're going to have 2 lads here that are just gunning to get back into that frame where they can start building towards the title. And the flyweight division isn't exactly that deep. There's not much depth in it. 2-3 wins on the bounce, and you're straight into the picture. You go back towards that Giovanni Scott fight, and if that decision went in his way, that could have been it could have been a whole different conversation, and he could have been fighting for a title on this card, for example. But a win here over Johnny Tuma to get in there, put on the performance against someone who I think actually is such a perfect opponent for Ger Harris as well, to put on a fantastic fight, and for the fans, but to kind of bring the best out of each other as well. So with this fight, I think, if he goes in there, he's able to get a win. I think he's probably he puts himself straight back into the frame, 1 or 2 more wins, and he can start calling his shots, because it's not as if he's ever looked out of his depth. It's just a case that maybe got caught up in the moment and the night and just wasn't sticking to the game plan. Maybe not, as Andy said, not sticking when he should have zagged, so on and so forth. Just maybe certain decisions in certain moments. And I reckon this is probably the night that he wants to rectify those, and actually show everyone the Ger Harris that we know, and the one that everyone's been hyping from the gym. So I think it's a big night for him, and I'm buzzing for that one. 2 lads I followed from all the way from the IMAF's roots, from the IMAF route. Jesus Christ, my speech is all over the place. And from the IMAF route, and this could be I just think it could be an absolute cracker. I think it's a shoe-in for fight of the night, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, yeah, very excited for that one as well. Andy, maybe before we move over to our first interview, I think there's a very interesting storyline for me anyway, and I want to know what you think of it as well. In that, we've talked about Solomon Simon and how close he is from getting that title shot as well. There's 2 guys fighting in the welterweight division right now, and that's Leon Hill and Adam Darby, who are both on great runs at the minute. Going out there and finishing fights, and I mean, it could be a real kind of showcase for both of these guys, and a kind of a competition to see who's going to get ahead of one of each other here, and maybe get that title shot in Cage Warriors, because obviously if they both pick up a win, they'll both be right on the precipice of that. I'm wondering, it could be a thing. Are they going to try and outperform one another here, try and put on impressive performance, or try and get the job done? But it's really cool from an Irish MMA perspective to see 2 guys rising up the ranks, putting in great performances, getting finishes, and giving themselves a real chance to get a crack at the title here. How do you feel about that whole situation?
It's very exciting, and I think it's a trend that we're going to see. I think it's a trend we are seeing. There is so much talent coming through Ireland, and that's, we look at things we look at Irish fighters. We don't even look across the water where this is Cage Warriors is an Irish and UK organization where there's tons and tons of fighters. But even just looking at the Irish fighters alone, there's so many that are making their pro debuts now. And Cage Warriors have sewn up a lot of them, as we can see on this card. And when you look at the featherweight division now, there's people who are maybe a year ahead of each other, or some that are coming at the same time, but it does look like Adam Darby and Leon Hill are on the same trajectory right now. And I won't take the cop-out answer this time, when I kind of named the entire card earlier on, but it is the likes of Leon and Adam who maybe should be kind of elevated as standouts to watch on this. You do have, obviously, I think Max Lally, given his competition in Ben Ellis. But to get back to your point, we haven't seen Justin Burleson fight since he beat James Sheehan. We don't know what's happening with James Sheehan right now. There was injury. When will he be back? Would he go back into a title fight? So you could have Adam Darby and James Sheehan in the same gym, kind of both in title contention there. And then, of course, Leon Hill across the, a little bit west in Dublin, over in KF. And it's unclear, I suppose, what's going on with Burleson right now. But you would think that some of these lads would be pushing for next in line at the title, or if not, then one fight away. I don't I might be malfunctioning here. Part of me would love to see an all-Irish showdown.
I was waiting for you. I don't
know.
I don't know whether
I don't know if I want to see that.
In that kind of terms, I think when you're looking at a Kikyo versus Damien McKenna fight, right? I think that I can accept that more as an Irish. I think it'd be an awful shame for Leon Hill and Adam Darby to have to fight it out because it takes.
If it was for a belt,
if it was for a belt, for sure, I'm 100% there. But it'd be a shame if it was like a number one contender because it knocks one of the guys off the perch there. But look, sometimes when you have that level of talent, and like you said as well, we're going to have that issue as well. We're going to have it in the flyweight division for sure. We're going to have it at 145. And it's already close to happening as well. And no, it's very, very exciting times for a lot of prospects coming through. And, I think this is the second. I don't know whether they're going to do a third show in Ireland this year. It's probably not going to be the case. But I think there is an appetite, and there should be an appetite for at least 3 Irish shows where we can kind of put on fights like this and get these kind of guys more established and kind of figure out the pecking order as well,
Look at Crocker Donovan in the boxing. Look at the interest and the storylines and everything that generated. Like, this is what this is what I think we need.
You're right. I'm fully with you. I know we have the crack with you, and we say the domestic fights, but the foundations of Irish mixed martial arts were built on fights between Irish gyms, between Irish fighters. And, look where it's got us to now. And I think, there wasn't that much opportunity, I think. And I think, the way the domestic scene is, and there's not too many shows going on, it's very hard to be able to achieve that. But Cage Warriors, Caoilte, they have an opportunity to be able to put fights on like this as well. And I think they have been doing it. And I think there's an appetite for them to do it more often as well. And hopefully they continue on the trend over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I think that's how you elevate the Cage Warriors shows from the RDS to the 3 Arena. You build these storylines, you put a lot more back into promoting the cards, which I do have questions about on this before this one. But you build those storylines, and then you're able to sell more tickets. You're able to get people to buy into it, and then it has nearly a little bit more bite to the card, a little bit more meaning as well, I guess, in a way, when you don't. Let's say if there was no title fight, for example, it just adds a little bit more meaning to, I guess, the upper end of the card, because you've got this maybe a little bit of rivalry where winner might be able to go fight a title next, and it adds just a little bit extra. I always think about this, where if I was to name a card that stands out in recent memory in Ireland, I would always, for whatever, I know why it comes to my mind, is Miles Price and Peter Caoilte. The storyline, it was just always comes to the forefront. It might not be the best card, might not be the best fight. It might, all these things. You could argue other cards all day, but that one had the hype, the tension in the arena. Jesus Christ.
They stick in your memory.
They do. Like that moment, I remember being there thinking, whoa. I was like, this feels like it means something. And I feel like to be able to get to that point again, that's how Cage Warriors break into the 3 Arena. Personally, 100%. And I think they're able to do that.
100%, yeah.
And if you chat to anyone who's around, like if we chat to Graham or whatever, like he'll talk, or the lads will talk about like when Reece McKee, made his pro debut and took on Johnny Jitsu, who had X number of fights, and like it was bananas when Joe McColligan, who only had a couple of pro fights, stepped in and was doing that SPG Hunter and went for Peter Caoilte. When Norma Park and Redzer had that epic war in on the Bama show, like. It's just, I don't know, it's class.
It is. We're definitely all in agreement. And, I just think it was a good thing to bring up in the current status of where a lot of the Irish mixed martial artists are right now. I think it's very, very exciting times ahead. And I mean, I could probably sit here for another 45 minutes or an hour and talk about this Dublin card in terms of storylines and narratives and what could be. And, we'll have lots of time on the podcast maybe after the event to break it down a little bit more and what's next. But we got to move forward. We got to chat about other stuff. And we're going to go to our first guest of the day, and that's Damien McKenna, obviously coming in and fighting in the people's main event. I think everybody is really looking forward to it. I know we're looking forward to it as well. And he has a really good fight here with Keith Kyo coming up on the card. And let's head on over to Damien and see what he has to say about that fight, making his debut with Cage Warriors, and a lot more stuff as well.
Joining us on the Outer Angle for the first time is Damien McKenna. Damien, how are you?
I'm great, lads. Pleasure to be here. I've made the big time now. Thank you.
It's been a it's been a busy year. You know, you've turned pro. You're preparing now for highly anticipated Cage Warriors fight and your Cage Warriors debut in the RDS in Dublin. Before we get cracking into that, you know, what's it been like the last year? You know, turn pro. This is what, 4 fights in the space of an entire year. What's it been like for you?
It's been great, living my dream, to be honest. Turned pro in November. Had 3 finishes since then. Time for the big step up now. Into the big show. I said I was going to go 3-0. I actually got offered Cage Warriors, to be honest, for my debut, but I said I wanted to get my teeth into the pro game first, get used to the new rule set. I said I was going to go 3-0, and I have. And now I'm on the big one now, next Saturday.
You've called it for sure. And I guess, you know, that switch up to the 4-ounce gloves after competing with the 7-ounce for so long, the difference in rounds, do you think it suits you a little bit more ever since turning pro?
I would say it suits me, yeah. Obviously, none of my fights have went the 15 minutes yet, but I'd say it suits my style. I have kind of a style where I wear people out. The 3 minutes were a wee bit short. I find when you're on the front foot, when you start getting that 4th and 5th minute, that's where, in sparring and stuff as well, and in fights, that's where you see a lot more finishes, kind of in the second half of the round. So, yeah, and I'm just got a pretty violent style and exciting style, so I think it works well in the pro game.
For sure. And I guess, I don't mean to put a negative spin on it nearly, but you know, before you turned pro earlier this year, and at one point I've been interested in hearing about is you came off the back of, I guess, two tough losses, in amateur, and those are tough to take back to back. And I wondered, coming back from that and adjusting, going into pro, what was that like for you? And making that decision, the whole process surrounding that?
Yeah, so that was like last March. I took my last amateur fight, so I was on a 2-fight but tough loss streak. That was very tough. Obviously, you're questioning the level. I took my longest time off fighting at that point, so I was from March until I didn't make my pro debut until November last year. But again, even at that point, even from like April, I was saying, right, I'm going to take this time off. I've had 17 amateur fights. Yes, I'd like to have went out on a one streak, but I just said, right, I'm going pro. I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to fight in Cage Warriors. That I've said that when I didn't have any right to say that, to be honest, like after those 2 fights, but I still knew the level that I'm on. And if I had said that to somebody that like, they would have been like, what are you on about? But I'm here now. Obviously, my last 3 opponents mightn't have been at the greatest Cage Warrior level, but it's just, I just know how much I've improved over the last year and a half. So again, this big step up now, I know I'm more than ready for it, to be honest.
And going, you know, and you had that big long spell out. You took your time coming back, taking care of the health. You were off in Thailand, I remember, at one point as well. And then you're turning pro. Was there nearly, from a mental side of things, like you're saying, you're probably second guessing and stuff like that for the debut? Then did that help bring that confidence back and actually find not the love for it, but find your rhythm again as soon as you turn pro and just re-clarify that where you believe you are, if that makes sense?
For the pro debut?
Yeah,
just having a good time off. Like, I never stopped training. Obviously, the impact, I was the smartest I ever had to be with my training. After 2 fights like that, you have to really look after your brain. I have to take a step back and actually think, right, it's time to look after myself. I've had a lot of fights in a short space of time, but throughout that time is probably when I improved the most. And like, I haven't even got to show what level I'm on, even in my last 3 fights, because I haven't needed to show it. If you look up, like, before I turned pro, so obviously I had the back-to-back losses in my last 2 fights, but before that I was performing very well. I beat Shane Mullen, got a Clan Wars title, and then I beat Luke Richardson on Virtus. I was on a nice wee roll then, and then obviously didn't get too good results, but I haven't really had to show my level since then. And how much I've improved since then, like, yeah, it's nearly, I know I'm going under the radar for sure, and I think that's gonna, I'm not able to fight under the radar now anymore after Cage Warriors in Dublin. This is kind of like the coming out party, I think.
I guess when you're building this level up, and as you're saying, you're saying you're going under the radar. You've been training away as well, and to improve that level and make it that, and to make sure you're at that Cage Warriors level and to show it on the day. you've been training away over in switching things up and going to Dublin quite a bit recently to Team Rhino HQ. I even saw you going to DCA a little bit as well. What's been has there been some kind of conscious changes to camp as you're preparing for a big fight like your Cage Warriors debut?
Yeah, I would say this camp, it's probably the most technically focused I've had. So you see people that like push themselves harder each camp, like have to work harder physically, but I've never really had that problem where I've always pushed myself that way, like to the absolute limit, sometimes even too far. This camp, my huge focus has been on not just this camp, just this year, like as I've turned to pro, I'm not just busting myself and not worrying about technique as much. Like this is the most technically focused I've ever been. Yes, I'm going down and training with Caoilte. He's an absolute wizard. He's a genius. Going down and training on Team Rhino, getting a good mix there of the technique and also obviously the hard rounds as well with the lads. Like I'm coming from a small gym. It's great for me. I've like all Jerry's undivided attention. Plus I get to go down to Team Rhino with my teammates as well down in Dublin and get to work in with Saul, Lewis, Jer. Like it's a perfect combo for me there. But yeah, so yeah, I've just leveled up like the mindset. Yeah, I'm from the smaller gym. I have to do the work in other places, and that's fine too.
And I guess a big part of it, you know, you're going over there training with other lads who you're sharing the card with, and kind of that. I imagine that helps nearly when you've lads in the same type of mindset as you, all focus on the exact same date, cutting weight and everything, where you're nearly bouncing off each other and getting better together ahead of this fight. Yeah,
big time. As I say, like in my gym, I'm the first person to turn pro in my gym. I'm the first person from UAE to ever fight professional MMA, fighting Cage Warriors. So it's class, kind of leading the way that way. But it's also great and refreshing going down to Dublin. Like there's times there on a Friday, I think I turned around, there was 5 of us. I can't remember, like 5 of us fighting on this Cage Warriors card or all similar things coming up, and it's just like completely normal. So it's good to have that balance where in UAE when I'm training, like it's this huge deal. Like it's like I'm leading the way. And then I go to Dublin and it's just a normal event, you know. Obviously it's a big event for that gym too, but they've been there before, they've seen it all, so it's good to have the best of both worlds.
What's that journey like from Oma? Because I was watching your vlog there. You're going off to Dublin for a day, double flat whites that I'm not too sure I can get on board with. But that distance you're traveling must be what, about
that's quite a shot you've just taken there.
Flat white trays here. What's going on?
Holy shit.
You obviously have not had a coffee from the Alchemist, because you would be banking up on 2 or 3 of them as well. They are the GOAT spot. Shout out. But no, it's actually, I'll be honest, it's shit. The drive is absolutely shit. At least once a week. There's times where I was going more than once a week as well. It's a 2-hour drive from my house, at least, like not one way, and then going back. So you could go driving 2.5 hours and you could have a bad day in sparring. It's a long drive back to my house, like, but it's well worth it, definitely. Actually, I like it now at this point because it's like on a good, maybe an Old Triangle podcast or something else, and flies in. But yeah, that drive to Dublin is probably one of the worst things I would say about camp. Like the diet and the cardio and all this stuff, but the drive is shit.
The drive plus water loading will make it just that little bit worse, I imagine.
Yeah. Luckily I'll not be down this week. Like I'm only down really once a week, anyway, once or twice a week. So it would be about a 5-hour drive if I was water loading, I would say.
I guess with the fight now, you know, we're on fight week now. You're getting ready, and you said before you had the opportunity to make your debut in Cage Warriors, and then you wanted to go 3-0, and now the opportunity has arisen, and the name Keith Keogh crosses the desk, or you get the message, whatever. What are you thinking when you see that, and you see someone you would have been on a team with over at the IMAS before, you've shared a common opponent, you've probably trained together. What's going through your mind when you see that?
No, we never actually have trained together. Never done anything together. I would say we get on well. Have a good relationship with all the C-Max lads, but we've never actually, even on the Ireland team, we've never trained together. But yeah, you normally see the usual progression in Cage Wars. Someone's first fight, they'll fight like someone from Spain, Italy, England, maybe someone you've never really heard of. You don't see too much of these big domestic clashes anymore, anyway, or not at the minute. But so that was kind of what we were thinking of. We were kind of putting the feelers out with Cage Wars and Ian Dean, trying to get on this card. And obviously Team Reno have a good connection with him as well. Thinking it was just going to go that natural progression. And then Ian basically said, here, we'd like to have you on the card, but it's going to be an Irish fight. And then Keith was the name. And me and Jerry just kind of looked at it like, here, that's great. Like, it's a tough fight, we know that, but everybody in Cage Warriors is going to be a tough fight, really. And for a fight, as you all know, like, for the hype and the attention on this fight, this is like the hype and attention to have maybe your third or your fourth Cage Warriors fight, not your first fight. So all it's really done is, I knew the fight with Keith was probably going to happen eventually, so it's really just saved me like 1 or 2 or 3 camps, and now we're just getting straight into it. Like, when I win this fight now next week, I've kind of skipped a pile of random fights that nobody cares about really on the scene. So I was very happy when it came up. Obviously, I know the level and I know it's a tough fight, but you should have seen my amateur career. I've never ever been afraid to get in there with people that are seemingly very high level as well. I've fought a great level of people since my first or my second, third fight at amateur.
I love it, the idea that we're having Irish domestic clashes, the fact that the willingness to take it and from both sides is just, it's incredible, because it's not something we typically see as much nowadays. And like you said, that the hype it gets, the buzz it's created is something else, and it's probably one of the fights that we're most excited to see on the card. But I guess from your perspective, when taking that, and you understand all this, do you think it's something that probably should be happening a little bit more in Irish MMA, and I guess even on these cards where you do have these domestic matchups?
On these cards, for sure. Like, if this fight was happening in England or in London for no reason, that's what I would say would be for no reason. Obviously, it's for a belt or a number 1 contender spot, that's different, but there's no point Irish fighting Irish on an English card or something like that. But in Dublin, yes, because that's this is what the crowd want to see. Obviously, I'm taking the crowd down with me, and they'd be happy to see me fight anyone, and Keith's crowd would be happy to see them fight anybody. But this like doubles or maybe triples the amount of hype around the fight. You know what I mean? It's great, and we kind of come into that. Me and Jerry have been saying, like, the golden era of Irish MMA again. Like, I don't know how many Irish featherweights have turned pro in the last year or two, where the amateur scene really has been on fire the last few years, and now everyone is turning that over. So there's only 15 spots on that card. Like, why just fill them with 15 people versus 15 non-Irish people? If we could get, like, I don't know, at least half the cards Irish versus Irish, or that's even better. That's what's going to bring us into the 3 arena, into the SSE arena again, not just fighting people that nobody's heard of before. So I think it's good, man. I think it's good. We're going to find out who's the best in Ireland as well, instead of just wondering. That's the only way to find out.
I love it. That's I think Andy Stevenson's been banging that drum for quite a long time now, so I'd be delighted to hear that.
I was smiling to myself. I was like, I love hearing everything that you're saying, Damien. And I think, look, let's be honest. Like, Keith has been one of the names who the likes of ourselves and everyone around the country have kind of been beating the drum for. That, you know, this is the guy to watch. This is one of the real prospects to watch. But I think it's it's very impressive for you to turn around and say, do you know what? No, I want that fight, and I'm going to show you that I am actually the one that you should be looking at here. And also, I just think it's a brilliant fight and a brilliant opportunity for you. So, but I am curious to know, like, what do you make of Keith's skill set? What do you think that are we overhyping him? Do you feel like he's getting the adequate kind of respect that he's earned so far in his career, or how do you make of what do you make of his standing and his skill set in the country?
I wouldn't say I know exactly what your thoughts on him are. Obviously, I know you think he's a great fighter. I do think he is good. He's very good everywhere, and he's done extremely well at amateur, and now he's doing well at pro as well. But it's a fight that I've been ready for, and actually me and Jerry even so has wanted at amateur. It's a fight that easily could have happened on a Clan Wars Cage Legacy and IMAF before, and it's a fight that me and Jerry actually wanted to have before. It just didn't work out for different reasons, but Keith's very good. But I know I'm very good, and I know that I'm going to win. I think the styles match up very well. He's a good striker. He has great grappling. He's a very, very confident fighter. He believes in himself 100%. And he's had a very good career so far. But I just know stylistically that I match up well against him.
Damien, what's the... Go ahead.
Sorry, Chris. Damien, listening to you talk, you seem very clear in what you want for your career. Hearing you saying you turned down Cage Warriors, you wanted to get a couple of fights under your belt before you took this fight. What's the perfect path for you? What are you looking to try and achieve over the next couple of years with Cage Warriors?
I wouldn't say I've turned down Cage Warriors. It was just there was rumblings on it. Like there was maybe an option there, and I said here, I would like to just get my feet wet first in the pro game. But Cage Warriors has been, even before I started MMA, Cage Warriors has been so prestigious to me. Obviously, there's other promotions in Europe, but I love just even the idea now on Thursday when I get to Dublin, getting those yellow gloves. Like I am ecstatic for that. I cannot wait for that. I've always wanted to become Cage Warriors World Champion since I've started watching MMA. Cage Warriors Champion was my dream. But I just want to have exciting fights on this. I don't want to be the boy that fights in Dublin once or twice a year. I want to fight over in England as well. I would love to fight in Rome. I want to be fighting often. I don't want to just be on the shelf until the show comes back to Dublin. So I would like that. The way my amateur career has been, I want to be active. I would like 3 to 4 fights a year, and then I would eventually, the belt would be amazing. If a contender series or something similar like that came up before that, that's great. But as I said this time last year, I was chatting about being 3-0 and signing the Cage Warriors, and if someone had heard me then, they probably would have been like, what the hell are you on about? Now I want by like 2027 to be ready for Cage Warriors title or something like Dana White Contender Series.
100%. You talked about your style and how your style has progressed, and obviously we are always excited when we see your name on the card because you always bring an exciting style. You fight fire with fire, but you've said a couple of times here, you're the most technical that you've been. So I guess, is that your kind of mindset now as you're kind of progressing your professional career where, it's important to put on exciting fights, but it's also important to bring that technical aspect into your game as well, where, sometimes when you get involved in slugfest, you take maybe more, not you in particular, that fighting style, you'd like to tend to take more damage than you probably should be. And you obviously protect yourself because you're in the early stages. So when you say you're the most technical you've ever been, is that kind of the mindset that you're bringing into this fight and probably future fights along the line as well?
Yeah, I would say most technical. Like, obviously I'm never afraid to get into a slugfest or a war, which is probably better for a pro because you're only fighting 3 on Cage Wars. Like, you're lucky if you're fighting 3 or 4 times a year, where I might have been doing that in the IMAF, and then even if I won, I'm fighting again the next day. So it probably that style doesn't suit the competition format too well versus now pro. But yeah, I'm not afraid. Like, yeah, I want to be in exciting fights, but also winning comes first. It doesn't matter what. I don't want to be the person like, oh, I'm the most exciting fighter and they're losing every fight, or I'm always in a war. I don't care about that. Like, obviously, it comes naturally to me to have entertaining fights because that's my style. Is a very entertaining style. I can mix it up with anybody anywhere, I think, now. But winning is definitely coming first. I'm not just like, oh, I'm going to bite down and slug it out so the fans are roaring out. If the simple option's there and the clean technical victory is there, that's the option I'm going to take. Winning comes first over everything, and then excitement.
Damien, one thing I noticed with before is the amount of, I guess, media attention you've gotten from locally back home. Yeah, this goes back ever since you were an amateur. I remember seeing it's like the actual support, and it's intriguing because you would like newspaper articles for amateur fights, IMAFs, professional, every single fight covered. That support, and I guess being the first person from an area kind of leading that pathway. What's that like for you? Because it seems to be something you wear with pride.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I am Mr. Omagh. I absolutely love Omagh. I'm proud of where I'm from. It's quiet. It's not the craziest spot. It's just where I'm from. I'm very happy to be there and be from here. I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing from here. That's one thing I pride myself on. Like, and that's nothing against anybody else who's had to move away or to chase their dreams, but I'm chasing my dream from Omagh in the gym that I started in with Jerry. I coach the kids class. I'm involved like in the community. I'm Omagh, Mr. Omagh. But yeah, it's unreal. Literally since I think it was my first Clan Wars fight. It was in Ulster Herald or one of them. But like, lots of these big newspapers have. It's actually weird because I think like there's been a few times where maybe me and Ian Gary would have fought at the same time, and he's won in the UFC, and it wasn't even covered in the newspaper. And then like you see at the back like MMA, and then you see me up at the top, like a photo of me whatever fights it was. So it is funny, like definitely. And it's still, I was saying earlier, still a very niche sport up here. Like this is Gaelic football territory, and it's maybe soccer and it's boxing. Like people are still asking me, "Oh, are you the boy that does kickboxing, or are you the boy that does UFC?" Like, but I was saying earlier too, it's kind of now shifting from my friends and family, which I have a huge support. I've always been a big ticket seller. I've always had huge support. It's shifting from just my friends and family to now like people I don't even know that are buying tickets to see me fight, or they're like, "Oh, if they see me out, oh, I seen your fight in Cage Warriors." Like, it's not that they're fans, but it's all in that kind of second wave now of support of growing it. So it is deadly. It's something it's something, as you say, I've worn proudly this whole time. I've never like shied away from it at all. I'm proud to be leading the way for Oma.
Has it always been combat sports, or have you been? Do you know? I know you're in football country there now. So did they have you? Were you ever getting involved in a bit of GA?
Oh yeah, So I started boxing when I was 8 years old until about 13, and I played Gaelic from I don't know what age, six or so, until minors. I wasn't very good, like, but I still played. It's just the usual. So I was doing boxing and playing Gaelic at the same time, and really it was getting to the point where it was decided one or the other, and I was definitely a better boxer than I was Gaelic, but Gaelic's like at the time was the thing, so I went to that, and then I stopped after minors, didn't do anything apart from go mad at the weekends until I was about 21. But I always had an interest in combat sports, and then I walked into MMA when I was 21, so haven't looked back since. But yeah, I've always been into combat sports. My dad used to watch like DVDs of the Fabulous Four, like Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Leonard. So remember watching that. Remember staying up watching the big boxing cards with my dad, R.I.P. Ricky Hatton, all them big shows they got there. So I've been a combat sport fanatic ever since, or my whole life really, and then huge into MMA obviously when it really burst on the scene over here.
Damien, it's amazing to hear like the support and the coverage and stuff that you're getting up in Oma. The sport right now in the country, like there's so much momentum behind fighters coming out of the north of Ireland, and I do notice though that it seems to me that there's been a huge kind of shift towards where you'll see fighters who will be competing in a gym that's maybe a smaller gym, and then there seems to be kind of almost like a migration to Fight Academy Ireland. Like that seems like almost like it's almost like a rite of passage almost at this point because of the success that they've had. But like, do you notice that yourself, and do you feel almost like a not a pressure, but like it sounds like you want to represent Oma, you want to represent your gym. Like, do you feel like you're booking the trend almost by taking that approach?
Yeah, it's nearly like you lose a fight, and then the next time you're fighting out of FAI. And that's no shit against them. Obviously, they're a great gym. They're doing really well. Paul Hughes is like such like an inspiration for me, and they dominate a lot on the amateur scene as well. But yeah, I'm not like trying to rebel. I just love being from Oma. I do just want to show that you can do it from the gym. It's kind of like what Conor did on the way up. Obviously, he's from a big place. He's from Dublin, but he stuck with one team the whole time. And I don't know. I think you just have to work with what you have. Just because a big gym is doing really, really well and got the huge numbers doesn't mean that that's going to be the right fit for you. I know what I have in Oma. I know what me and Jerry have, like the relationship that we have. I think that's where I work better. Like a small, close community. Like everyone in the gym is like some of my best mates, and I didn't know them before I walked into the gym. And it's a small, tight-knit community. That's where I perform better. Other people perform better in the bigger gyms. Like I've been to like Thailand and Bang Tao and stuff where there's like 100 people on the mats. That's good for sure, but I don't think that's where I excel. So yeah, I just want to show people from Oma that they can, because we're the only gym in Oma, and were founded in 2019. So I want to show you don't have to go to all these bigger gyms or go across the country, go to whatever. You can do it from here as well. Like now we have somebody fighting from Oma on Cage Warriors, and soon it'll be the UFC or another big promotion. So yeah, I just pray it's where I think I'm performing the best. So, and I've had my losses as well. and I've never once thought, right, I need to go here, need to go there, need to move to that big gym. Like, I'm putting in the work, and I'm happy where I am. But yeah, you do see it a lot.
Damien, before we wrap up, there's one thing I want. Just 2 quick ones for you. The outside of your own fight with Keith, what do you make of the Cage Warriors card in Dublin, and what's the one you think everyone should be watching outside of your fight?
Well, I think the card is a great card. It's going to be absolutely electric. Place is going to be bouncing. I was there at the one in April. The place was bouncing. It was unbelievable. Can't wait to be part of it. The fight, I don't know, is public knowledge now. The fight that I was looking forward to the most was Solomon's fight, but it seems like it's not happening now. I do think that should have been a title fight, should have been a main event. I don't see why they didn't deserve it to happen, but whatever, your guy's injured now. So I would say I'm looking forward to seeing Jer fight. He's very exciting. He's funny guy, he's a funny character, but he's got all the skills as well, and he hasn't been able to show it too much in his last fight. So looking forward to Jer's fight, and then I'm looking forward to the other Civil War fight. I think, Andy, you put it. That was a good one there. So I'm looking forward to Jamie Abbott's fight, isn't it, Matthew Freeland?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Good choices.
I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah.
And
Well, I'm looking forward to your fight anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think your fight against Keith is the people's main event. It's one that we're all looking forward to, and yeah, it's a fantastic one. I can't wait to get to look at it.
Yeah, as I said, wherever I put us in the main event, I don't care. I'm more than happy, and I'm sure he's more than happy. Like, on a global scene, it's just a 2-0 versus a 3-0, but in the domestic scene, it's a huge fight. It's one of the biggest, like, Irish fights in a while, with the most attention, the most excitement. So put us wherever on the card, I'm more than happy.
I love it. Quick prediction before we let you go.
Second round finish, TKO or sub, but second round.
I love it. Thank you, Damien, Mr. Oma McKenna. Joining us.
Very old.
Love it.
thanks a million for joining the show, Damien.
Thanks
Thank you,
so much,
lads.
Jamie.
Appreciate it.
All right, lads, let's talk. Paddy McCorry obviously got the win this past week on Dana White's Contenders Series, but unfortunately did not pick up the contract. He beat In-So Huang by unanimous decision, 30-27 on the scorecards. You know, it's a difficult one for Paddy, I think, you know, because it was a tricky opponent that he was fighting, a guy who didn't really give him too much to work with, but, you know, you just have to judge it based off what we've seen in the past with Dana White's, and I think Paddy knows this himself. You know, great win for him, great experience for him, but not one that, you know, after the fight I was like, I'm not too sure whether Dana is going to give him the contract like that. Now, sometimes Dana can be feeling a little bit generous. I think fighters have gotten contracts based off lesser performances in Dana White's Contender Series in the past, if we're being truthful, but it just wasn't to be for Paddy on the night, Andy. And, you know, great win, but, you know, it's, you know, disappointing for him, but I liked his attitude after it. I think he'll definitely be back there. I think getting another couple of fights under his belt. And to me, you know, and Paddy will probably speak to this himself, but to me, looking at it and analysing the fight, it just seemed that there was a level of doubt there and a lack of commitment. He's afraid to commit on his shots sometimes. And, you know, obviously, I think that he can produce better performances than he did on a Dana White's Contender Series. Not saying that it was a terrible performance by any means of the stretch, because getting the win 30-27, dominant on the scorecards, there's a lot to be said about that. But, you know, disappointing for him not to get the contract in the end.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's a weird one. It kind of just highlights once again, like, MMA is not really sport. Like it is to an extent, and then there's a part of it that's like, well, you know, it's not really just about winning or losing in this sports entertainment game, whatever you want to call it. Like,
and even more so in the Contender Series, the way it's
I mean, like it's like Contender Series. I think I said this to you. Like, Contender Series is literally like Gladiator, where like there's just your man's there with his thumb, and he's like, yeah, Dana, yes or no, and whether he you've entertained him enough, you get in or not. And like the reality is, Paddy McCorry went in here, very clean performance. I don't think anyone was under any illusions who won or lost the fight after. The judges' scorecards reflected that. I thought he did some great work. But again, the context here is that it's not really just about winning or losing, and especially in Contender Series. Like, I mean, he knows what he was signing up for. You go in there and you have to put on a bit of a blood and guts performance and all out attack, and he didn't really do that. I do think that in Su Wang, had a major part to play in that. I feel like Paddy, when we see him, like it's oftentimes counter striking is his game. I thought that was the case here. His opponent didn't really throw a whole lot, is the reality. So
not at all.
But,
he was.
Yeah, go ahead.
He moved forward. I think he moved forward a lot, but didn't throw any shots at all. I think the check right hook that Paddy was throwing was a beautiful shot too. And to be honest, I think the guy, what's his name, Huang, he had some chin on him, because he took a fair clatter from Paddy on a couple of times, and it would have probably hurt other fighters a hell of a lot more. But he in fairness, they were calling him like he was being trained by the Korean Zombie. He had those kind of tendencies there where he was able to walk forward and take shots too. But it's just unfortunate, because you know what I mean? When we look back on this and you just look at it on paper, it's a fantastic win against a difficult guy here. But I think the script that Dana White's Contender Series wants you to win it doesn't always line up with how fights go. And it's just unfortunate that that's the way it was, because you need a good dance partner in order to put on a battle and put on a brawl. I don't think Paddy necessarily had that. And obviously he said himself he got a little bit clipped in the third round and going for the takedown too. And obviously we know video history doing that as well. Obviously you have to do what you have to do in fights, but that definitely doesn't go down well with Dana White either. So look at it's just an unlucky one for Paddy, really, ain't it? Yeah,
I mean, I looked like to be fair, like Paddy didn't step on the gas enough. Like he didn't, in the context of like you're on Contender Series and like you could kind of tell, like you're watching him win the fight, but Dana White is Dana White, and unless you're really throwing the kitchen sink, like he will blame both of you. And to be fair, like Paddy put out, after the fight, very self-aware, very much taking responsibility. He said, didn't go through the gears when I should have, got clipped in the third and didn't know if it was Pancake Tuesday or Sheffield Wednesday, then started shooting on autopilot, terrible to watch back, just not showing what I'm capable of. 2 very underwhelming performances this year, so much to work on, need to be better, shoulda, woulda, coulda, and then, respect his opponent, etc. And like that's a very, I think that's a very mature way of coming out of this fight. And like, if you think back to that fight against Shuki Faraj, yes, it was this big culture moment. Yes, it was, again, a very clean win. But after that fight, we were kind of thinking, like, was he holding back? It seemed almost like that maybe he was just happy to put a beating on it. But, given that he's kind of saying there, two very underwhelming performances, well, then maybe there's something there where he hasn't kicked into that next gear. And this is the thing, is Paddy has all of the elements that they look for on Contender Series. We've seen him against, was it Angus Hewitt in his second Cage Warriors fight where he had the big flying knee. We've seen him, with the guillotine. We've seen him knock out the last lad in Cage, not before Shuki Faraj, I can't remember his name now, the English fighter. But like he's had these highlight reel performances where that's exactly what they want. That's what he's capable of. But it's just on this night, he didn't deliver it. Albeit with a very, comprehensive victory. And yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. Obviously, Dana after the fact was kind of saying, look, go and put together some more work and get a few more wins and stuff. And he's been on tough, he's been on Contender Series, he's on their radar. And I think he has all the tools there to put it together and to
definitely does. I think what we have to remember, and he's like, and what everyone needs to remember, he's only 7-1 now. He doesn't even have 10 fights yet. So, the Caoilte, I think that's a big point that you have to kind of take out of this altogether. And, we were saying before as well, going in there and getting to the UFC maybe a little bit too soon might not be the best thing for a fighter as well. So this might be a blessing in disguise for him. At 7-1 now, he can kind of step forward and he can look at the next couple of fights as well. And I think the big question is where do those fights take place? What would you like to see next for Paddy?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Cage Warriors is the obvious answer, but I'd nearly shoot a bit differently here and say that I'd actually like to see a couple of those one fight type of deals in maybe not random organizations, but more established ones, the likes of an LFA. Test yourself against guys from overseas in the likes of the US, UAE War. That type of route where you're having just that one fight deal in different promotions, rack up those wins, like what Amran Shaban is doing at the moment, and then try and enter that way. Because if you get into Cage Warriors and you're only getting 2 fights a year when you want to be having 3 or 4 on the bounce, come on now, I'm not too sure. I wouldn't be too sure as like you want to be stuck that long, especially when someone is gunning to go to the UFC and has shown they're good enough to be at that level, but maybe just didn't show that performance didn't show on the night, given the context of the situation of the Contender Series. So I just think maybe some one fight deals, try and rack up some wins quick and you're already on the radar, and get back onto the UFC and hope they sign you up quickly, because I'm not sure the Cage Warriors route was the fastest way right now.
No, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, Andy, quick one before we move on.
He's managed by Graham Boylan, so yeah. Is that even like? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, like, I'm sure he would want him fighting on Cage Warriors. If I'm managing someone, I'm promoting an organization, I'd probably want them fighting on that organization.
Like, I think what we were saying before that is like getting back in there, getting some fights, get the middleweight strap around your waist, and then defend it a couple of times. Get yourself in a couple of 5-round fights as well. And, it'll be interesting to see. Like, it's definitely, I've been expecting Paddy to be getting that opportunity again. So it'll be exciting to see it when it does happen. Let's go.
Landy's sorry, didn't mean to cut across. But Landy's like, he's defending that belt in a month's time or so as well, isn't he? So or a couple of weeks time. So, timing wise, it could line up. Big time. Absolutely, it could. Andy, Fou Fou Fares picked up another great win at UAE Warriors 63. Looked very impressive. Got another first round KO. Very, very obviously, we spoke with him on the podcast before. Very, very exciting prospect, and he went out and delivered again with a really blistering performance here and getting another knockout win. Yeah, he looked magic. I thought he looked absolutely brilliant. His gauge of timing, of distance, I thought was fantastic. He looked great on the feet. When his opponent started to try clinch up with him, he just started landing these crushing knees up the middle. Some lovely body kicks, and ultimately that eventually, it wasn't the fight didn't go too long, but it was in my opinion, the accumulation of those knees to the body, where any time his opponents tried clinching him up, it was like a knife or a dagger just being stabbed right into his solar plexus. And I thought it was really, really impressive. Clean work, violent, more composed, I would say, than not that it was uncomposed in his previous fight, but he kind of came out reckless and almost paid the price for it in his debut there. But I think he just looked great. He looked great. We haven't he didn't really, it was basically just striking. There wasn't a whole, albeit your man was trying to grapple with him a little bit, there wasn't really much grappling here at all. And then when he put him down with the knee, he followed up violently again with some strikes to finish via TKO. And yeah, like, Fou Fou looks great. I'm very, very impressed.
Yeah, I was talking about some fighters that, we speak with Jamie Abbott-Bissett later on, that kind of suggested the same thing as well, is that sometimes the professional ranks suit a fighter better than the amateur ranks. And early days in Fou Fou Fares' career, this seems to be the case as well. Obviously, a very exciting, explosive style, and it'll be very exciting to see how he progresses. A couple of fights that I want to bring to the guys' attention, as well as 2 fights that fell through. Obviously, first one being Cage Warriors 193. Jordan O'Neill was supposed to be fighting Big Mike Tchumo. Mike Tchumo stepped in on the scales at 198 pounds for a 185 pound fight. So like a massive miss there from Big Mike, living up to his nickname for sure. That's disappointing. Like, the first thing that I thought of when I saw that was like, God damn it, what does Jordan O'Neill have to do to get a fight going here? Because he's been so unlucky. I mean, the man at amateur fought at 3 or 4 different weight classes. He can't get a break now, Caoilte, can't he? I mean, this is really unfortunate for a guy who has abundance of talent and must be chomping at the bit to get out there and perform. Hopefully they can make something happen fairly soon.
Hopefully, because I think he must be one of the most unlucky guys in Irish MMA right now. He's going to have to go back to just trying to find some grappling match to kind of keep active the way things are going, because you can't help but feel for him. It's a rough go of it, and we're all buzzing to see him in there. He's one of the top talents in the country and just hasn't been able to have that little bit of luck to get a run going, because once he does, geez, I'm very, very excited for when he manages to get that run going, because like we've seen before, top fighter.
100%, and you could not blame the man at all for not taking that fight. I mean, Mike Chuma weighing in at 198, probably going to put in like, what happened there? Like, I don't know. It's a massive waste of time, and must be very frustrating for Jordan. Another fight that did fall through, Andy, before we move on. Jack McGuire, Hugo Vach pulled out. McGuire had to pull out due to an injury there, so unfortunate circumstances there for Jack McGuire, but he'll be back again. The fight I was going to bring to you is the fight between Alexis Tsarmantidis and Matthew Elliott, which took place also on the Cage Warriors 193 card. A really close fight, which Tsarmantidis took home 29-28 on all 3 judges' scorecards. Very close first round. Second and third rounds are close as well. Obviously, Tsarmantidis got the nod. Your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah. Sorry, I was ate my microphone there. Look, it's a tough loss for Matt Elliott. I think the judges got it right. Look, the first round was really, really close. I thought they both had some great success. Tsarmantidis, I definitely thought edged it. Tsarmantidis was looking good as well in the second, and he made a really kind of brutal error which allowed Elliott to very brilliantly capitalize and take the fight to the ground. Mounted him, landed a load of elbows and strikes, and he came close to stopping it at one point. Tsarmantidis managed to survive the round, but I definitely thought it was one apiece going into the last one. And again, look, in the last round, it was really back and forth. Like it was a bit of a war. Both lads trading in the pocket. Elliott's nose was kind of bloodied and busted open, and I think that it was a case of like he was winning the exchanges earlier in the round, but then Tsarmantidis just kind of came alive, and he really went to work there towards the end. He landed some beautiful shots. And I think that, again, in a close round, I thought that he had edged it. And I think that the judges probably got it right there, 29-28. I will say, I know Matt, I remember speaking with Matt after the Kenny fight last time out in Dublin, very, very critical of himself, very critical of his performance. And I know he's kind of, I think I saw a post from him where he's very kind of disappointed and a bit, a disappointing kind of year, albeit he's gone 1-1 so far. But I couldn't help but think like his striking has massively improved, I think, in the last number of years. But I would love to see him go back to his foundation, to his strength, and like he competed for Team GB in both judo and wrestling as in the Youth Commonwealth Games, I believe. Didn't really see a whole lot of grappling from him in this fight, and I just think that if he can kind of mix in like the improved striking and the skill set that he has there now, while also still utilizing his major strength, I just think he'll have more success. And again, that's just me looking as an outsider looking in. I was just a bit surprised not to, like, it was pretty much a fight that played out in the feet for the most part, and I just think that there are tools in his arsenal that he could be using in these fights that perhaps he didn't, at least this time out.
Yeah, indeed. I think that's a good analysis as well. It's kind of melding everything together. I think, sometimes like that, when you see, how close that fight was with Ryan Shelley too, does that put a level of doubt in wanting to utilize grappling as well? But look, it was a really close fight. I did have the scorecards. Actually, MMA decisions is not working right now. The website is down, but I believe the judges did score it as you suggested. It was rounds 1 and rounds 3 for Tsarmantidis, and enough to get the job done as well on the night. But really close fight. Matthew Elliott will be back for sure. Let's have a change of pace. Let's move to our second interview of the day. And that's with Trevor Makengo, who's coming in to make his Cage Warriors debut. He's long awaited Cage Warriors debut, so very excited for everybody to hear this. Let's head on over and see what Trevor had to say about making his debut in the yellow gloves.
I'm delighted to say that we're joined for the first time in the L Triangle by Trevor Lion Man Makengo, who will finally make his Cage Warriors debut this weekend. He's taking on Norbert Pietrzak. Hopefully pronounced that one right, Sean Denny. Trevor, how are you? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, bro. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Feeling great. Obviously, starting the water load and weight cut and stuff like that, yourself. But other than that, I'm feeling great. You know what I mean? Feel good.
Yeah.
Just very chill, relaxed, just buzzing now. Just buzzing.
I can't imagine the water load or the weight cut is a whole lot of fun. So we'll try and lift your spirits here on 6 days out. And look, 6 days out finally from making your Cage Warriors debut.
Yeah.
You've been waiting to make this a long, long time now with Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
How does it feel now that you're finally 6 days out?
Look, it's been a mad one, to be fair with you. It's been mad. It's just quite frustrating because, in amateur, I'm always fighting. Like, whenever I want to fight, I'll fight. But now it's like I'm training really hard every single day because as a professional, you have to be in the gym every day, you know what I mean? And then you're not getting any fights. So it's an absolute blessing that 6 days now I get to actually fight. So, yeah, like, I'm happy. I'm very happy, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I think just something in me just feels like it's just another day in the office, you know what I mean? It's just a job. So that's why I'm not really like, whoa, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm very chill. Maybe just because I have a lot of experience already. I already know how the fight week's gonna go. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean that makes total sense. I mean, you've been training for a long time in anticipation of finally making this long-awaited debut. Of course, you had a brilliant debut on FCC, your pro debut. But then there was the whole thing with you were originally scheduled to face Conor Hayes. That never kind of came to fruition. What happened?
Oh, that one really was weird. I don't know what happened there. I was, well, like, as usual, I'm always preparing myself, and like, I don't know. He's on his side. They told us that he was injured, and obviously we're going to respect that. Like, I mean, everybody gets injured in the game, and it sucks big time. You know what I mean? So obviously we respected that, and I think it was like I'm not sure how many weeks. It was a couple of weeks, and they were like, "Look, we're going to get a replacement," but the thing is, you have to realize that we're light heavyweights. You know what I mean? There's not that many light heavies. You know what I mean? There's not that many heavyweights as well. Like, so I was just there, kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna keep training. I'm gonna trust Cage Warriors to do the job, which I definitely believe that they did. They really did their absolute best. Like, you know what I mean? And it just came down to the week, and I started water loading, and I was like, crap. Something in my head was kind of telling me, Trevor, it's not looking good. You know what I mean? A week out, and there's still no name, of course. And I was kind of like, crap, this sucks big time. But I had to water load, so couldn't wait. Well, not having an opponent is a weird feeling. You know what I mean? And bear in mind, my parents were on holidays, and no one was at home. So while I'm doing my water load on a Tuesday, I'm at home sitting down just wondering, like, what the flip's gonna happen, man? Like, there's no one to really talk to. You know what I mean? And you don't really want to talk to anyone because you're water loading. You know what I mean? You're not eating well or anything. Like you're not eating your usual carbs and stuff. So it's like crap. And then I seen a video on a Wednesday or something like that. It got sent to me, and it was Conor Hayes himself training, and he was teaching people, and he was moving perfectly. And I was like, wait, what is this video? I'm not sure if you guys seen it, but I was like, this is weird. You said like you were properly injured, like, you know what I mean? Because we had called on the phone, like, you know what I mean? And he said that he was injured, like, and he'll be fresh for November. So I seen that video, and then I was like, man, that's very disrespectful. I found that very disrespectful. Me personally, I found that very disrespectful. Someone that's couldn't wait, no fight, nothing. And you're just there teaching people, you're there doing your dance moves or something. I don't know. I think he does karate or something like that. I don't know. He's doing some mad dance move, and I'm just like, the flip's going on here. And then I got the call, and they just said, look, it's best to stop cutting weight because it's not looking good. And that was just it, innit? That was it. That really hurt me, you know what I mean? It's just crap. So I'm there rehydrating, and it's just like, I'm eating all of this at what cost, man? Like, I'm not fighting. And it's in England, so, like, I'm not going to watch the show regardless. You know what I mean? If I was in Dublin, I could be able to watch the show, probably sit down with the team or the crew or anything like that, but no. So it was a really bad time. And then the next day, like, you know what I mean? I think what hurt me the most was the Saturday when I seen the card, and I was just like, flipping hell, man, I'm not on that card. And it was a great card as well, like, you know, great names on it. But then just kind of seeing the highlight reels and stuff like that, and I'm just like, crap, bro. I'm not fighting on this card. But Cage Warriors done their absolute best to find people, and they just couldn't. So I think then the week after, I was like, look, I need to just switch off and just go back into the gym again. I went straight back in. I didn't wait around or moan. I just went back in on like a Tuesday or something, Tuesday or Wednesday. Alex is there telling me, Trevor, just relax. Like, you don't have to. But I was like, no, I need to train. I need to train because I need to fight. And then a few weeks comes down, and they tell me that I can fight on the Dublin card. And I was happy. I was ecstatic. And I just told them, look, just give me anyone. Just give me anyone. I don't really care. And they gave me Norbert. Apparently he's undefeated and stuff like that. Don't really care, to be fair. A fight is a fight, you know what I mean? So I'm just prepared now. I know it's been a long time, but I just don't feel like people have seen the best of me as of yet, you know what I mean? So I feel like throughout the year I've been getting much better, much better. So I can't wait to put a performance, you know what I mean, and win and get my 2-0. And so yeah, there was another fella that was calling me out as well. What's his name? Charles Joyner or something. Is that his name?
Yeah, that's his name. The Australian guy training out of training in England. He had that kind of controversial thing with Yannick Bahati where the glove touch and the KO.
Yeah, that's him, is it? Yeah, he was calling me out or something, and it was just ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Like, 7 fights in Cage Warriors and they're calling out a debut, and it's just like, this fella's a weirdo. Do you know what I mean? And then he started making videos of me and stuff. So I can notice that there are people in this Cage Warriors that actually want to fight me. So that kind of put in my head, like, you know, people are after me. Sorry about that. People are after me, and they're gonna want to beat me. So that's why I have to stay prepared as much as I can. You know what I mean? Because you never know what can happen. Now I'm gonna win this fight. The next fight could be Charles. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna pin his jaw in as well. I couldn't care less about who he thinks he is calling out a debut. I know what they're trying to look for. I know what he's trying to do. But you know what I mean? I like it. It's motivating me. So get this fight done. Let's see what Conor Hayes says for November. And then next year, 2026, let's see what the Cage Warriors are saying. Do you know what I mean? That's just my roadmap, but I don't really do roadmaps, but like, I just feel like I really need to pin these guys up. You know what I mean? Like, I really need to ping these guys up, because the amount of disrespect that I've just been treated, like, that I've gotten this year was just insane. Like, I'm not sure if you even know. I was meant to fight in February, even in Budo. This was before I signed with Cage Warriors, all right? And your fella, I forgot your man's name. And then we signed the contract in last year about it. Then January comes, all right? 3 days later, after New Year's, he pulls out. Fella was on the drink. Do you know what I mean? He was on the drink. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's just kind of like, what the flip's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, are people actually taking this serious or what? Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just training my ass off, and no one is fighting me. And I was training throughout Christmas, so I didn't actually eat the Christmas dinners and stuff. I didn't do that. Do you know what I'm saying? had to sacrifice myself and train. So, but look, we're here now 6 days, and I'm just ready to show what I can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, look, you make an interesting point there about the fact that, like, I'm sure that's been a frustrating time, and like you haven't been able to kind of, you know, showcase yourself in the cage. But my God, Trevor, are you showcasing yourself on social media these days? Because, I mean, we saw you at heavyweight, but this transformation, I mean, I don't know if you're going for male model now these days or something, but I mean, we see. I saw the British MMA scene Instagram page put up a photo, a side by side photo. You're looking ripped, man. Is it because of, you know, did that play a factor in your decision making to move down to light heavyweight? You know, the fact that it is difficult for you to get matchups at this weight class.
No, do you know what it was? Yeah, I was. I'm not sure if you ever seen a video of me. It was a video of me. I was at Auld or something. I was just saying. I'm gonna come after people and stuff like that. I was just joking around, and I was seeing that video back, and I was like, "Crap! I really need to do something about my weight. Like, you know what I mean? I can't be fighting heavyweight like this. You know what I'm saying?" And there are fights that I had in amateur, and like I would be pinging them, but then I didn't have that much energy anymore. Like, I didn't have the conditioning or the cardio anymore because the weight was just too much for me. Do you know what I mean? And I had a couple of issues as well, health issues because of it. I won't mention them because well, it is necessary, but it's all right. Like it's not. It is quite massive, but let's just say, like, these health issues, if I continued in that way, you probably wouldn't see me in MMA anymore. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, yeah, so it was getting very serious. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, me adding weight, and then I'm doing a very intense sport. Do you know what I mean? It's not good. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm training with people who most of the time are we only have back then we only had like middleweights, and like middleweight was the heaviest people. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm doing things that middleweights are doing in that way. Do you know what I'm saying? And it was very bad. Like, so I really had to take care of my health. I was over 120, man. I was really bad, man. I was really bad. Like, I had to cut in heavyweight. That's how bad it was. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, was it a difficult process then to like what was that transition like for you? Like, it sounds like it was, you know, you really kind of looked at your health really and was like, all right, I need to make a change here. But like, was that process of getting down to the lower weight class, was that a difficult thing for you to do, or how did you find it?
You know what was difficult? It was the people around me that kept being negative about it. So let's say if you're losing weight, you want someone to be motivating you. But the issue was that I wasn't getting that. Do you know what I'm saying? I wasn't getting that. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting all these chirps and this and that, and like, oh, you're looking fat, you're looking this, you're looking a bit meaty, oh, look, this clothes isn't fitting you. And it's like, I had to start switching my mind to thinking like, look, screw these people. It's just you versus you. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it actually made it easier, because I work well when the people are against me, if that makes sense. It's just something like I like beating the critics, if that makes sense. So it really worked to my advantage. And the weight loss wasn't actually too difficult, to be fair. It wasn't too difficult because, one, I knew I was going to lose the weight. I knew it. That is one thing that I always say to myself, that if I'm going to do something and I put 100% to it, I'm going to get it. So I knew I was going to lose the weight. It was a matter of when. Do you know what I mean? Kind of when, like. But we managed to lose the weight. We took our time. Like, my last fight, I was 110. I weighed in 110. And now I'm fighting 93. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like, oh, I'm fighting 93 just because I'm like just skinny. No, I'm fighting 93 muscle. You know what I mean? Lean, muscly. So, I started looking at myself in the mirror. Then I was like, wait, I'm actually looking pretty good. You know what I mean? So even when I'm going out now, so girls are actually looking at me. So I'm like, okay. Do you know what I mean? So it's actually not bad. Do you know what I mean? So I'm actually enjoying it now.
It has its benefits outside of the cage as well, Trevor. Yeah.
It does. It has its benefits outside the cage, yeah. Now, to be fair with you, I wouldn't be the type to go around 100 boards or anything, but you can kind of sense when they want to talk to you. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, you know what I mean? So it kind of makes you feel good. Like it builds your confidence. You know what I mean? So I feel great now.
Are you telling us you're the ladies' man now in CMAC? Is it?
Ladies man in CMAC. Oh Jesus, no, no. But I will say this though. I've been saying to myself, if I want to be the best Cage Warriors light heavyweight, that's my goal. Of course, there's no point in being in that division and you're not doing anything. But that's my goal. But I want to be I want to have like a label where it's like the sexiest man in Cage Warriors.
That's the new nickname, is it?
I would love that. I would love that. So when I win my fight, I'm gonna probably put that as a caption. Do you know what I mean? So
do you know the UFC have the bad motherfucker title? We could maybe create the sexiest motherfucker title for
you. You could probably get a belt to that. That would be pretty cool. Yeah. No, I think the weight loss just made me realize, like, you know, there's a lot of potential in myself. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna obviously I'm training every day, so I am really happy with the change. So I think because I stopped amateur MMA for a bit. It was like a year or so. I came back. I was 138 kilos. Yeah, 138 kilos. Now, I've lost 38 kg now because I'm walking around, like obviously in the fight week, I walk around 99, 98. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's hard work and just consistency.
Yeah.
And discipline.
Trevor, we've only got so much time, and there's a lot we want to get through to talk to you about the fight and about the gym as well, because it's a really exciting time for the gym. But I'm conscious, like, we've chatted to you, you know, a couple of times at events and gyms and things like that, but I've never really kind of gotten your backstory. Like, I know, like, you obviously made your amateur debut back in 2017. Like, that's over 8 years ago now. I know you've been training alongside the likes of Jordan Bradshaw and Kenny and Alex and all the lads since day one. But what was life like prior to MMA for you? And what was like outside the cage as well? Like, I know you're big into music as well. Like, what's Kenny like? You know, not just the fighter, but Kenny the person. Or sorry, Kenny. I said Kenny a minute ago. What's Trevor the person like, rather than the fighter?
To be honest with you, like, are you talking about like before I started MMA or just like now in general?
I suppose, like, what were you like growing up and prior to getting into MMA?
I was a troublemaker. Like, I was just fighting people all the time. I was just fighting people in school all the time, and I done something stupid in school, and I just kind of realized to myself, like, crap, man, I need to get my life fixed. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I was young, like, you know what I mean? I just didn't really know what I wanted to do in life, and then I went into Spar. I don't know why. I went into Spar, and I seen Alex and Debbie, and I was asking them, because do you remember back then they had tap out shorts? Remember them tap out shorts? Yeah, and I knew it was something to do with UFC. Everybody knew UFC, but they didn't really actually know people in it. Do you know what I mean? So I asked them, "Do you guys do the UFC?" And they looked at me and they were laughing. They were like, "No, it's called mixed martial arts, MMA." And they were like, it's on the third floor if you want to come today. So I went back home and I told my dad. My dad was like, "What? You want to do this?" And he was just going mental. He was just like, "Trevor, this is the worst thing you could ever do." And like, I don't blame him, because I told him to type UFC, and what he sees is Chuck Liddell with a mohawk throwing big huge overhands. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't look great. You know what I mean? So they said no. I kept asking. They said no. But on that day, for some reason, my dad came into my room and he goes, "Okay, just get yourself ready. Let's go." And I went in there And ever since then, I just never stopped coming. Just never stopped. I just kept going. So it's weird, isn't it? If I never went into the spar, I probably wouldn't have been here. So
The spar got you sparring.
that's it. That's it, really. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy how one small thing can just change your whole life. You know what I mean? MMA has changed my life for the better, massively. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously outside of MMA, I'm a musician. Like, you know what I mean? I make music. But I've been making music since I was a kid. Like, you know what I mean? Because I grew up in the church, so I learned the drums, guitar, the bass, the keys. So I have a lot of experience in music and stuff like that. And then just kind of, yeah, like I'm big into my music. I don't really do much. You know what I mean? All I do is MMA and music. You know what I mean? And yeah, really. I mean, then I entertain.
We'll have to get you
people.
doing a duet there, Trevor, with Franz Malambo as well. You know, Franz is into his
Franz,
music too.
yeah. I remember Franz was telling me he's releasing his music and stuff like that, which is good. It's good for him, like, you know what I mean? I have a lot going on in music. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on in music.
Do you ever walk out to one of your own songs?
No, I've never walked out to my own songs. You wanna know why? All right, this is weird.
I feel like that's an opportunity there for you to market yourself.
I know. That's it. Okay, but the issue is, it's so weird. All right, I do all these entertaining things and like I entertain people and stuff like that, but to kind of show my music, I don't know what it is. Like, the music is great; it gets millions of streams a year, but to show when it comes to music, I get very, very like blushy. Like, I start blushing over my music and stuff like that. Like, if you were to tell me my music is absolutely great, I start blushing. I just blush automatically. I don't know what it is. MMA is totally fine. Actually, MMA, I do blush as well. If you were to tell me like you had a great performance and stuff like that, I blush. But when it comes to music, I don't know what it is. It's just I just blush. I get nervous or something. I don't know what it is.
Can I give you some advice, Trevor?
What's up?
I mean, you're coming in here, you're stripping down to your underwear, you're fighting another man in a cage, and you're saying, I want to be the sexiest man in Cage Warriors. I feel like walking out to your own produced music. What's
True.
sexier than a man who can fight and play music? I mean,
True. I know. True. I should probably change my song choice now. For Cage Warriors, for Cage Warriors Dublin now, yeah, I should be doing that. Because it gets a lot of streams. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it though. Let me contact them and see if I could change it. I'm not sure if I'm too late, but they're all cool though. So.
Don't be giving Stevenson any royalties now or anything like that, Trevor.
No, he's not getting none.
Yeah, don't be giving him nothing. Don't be giving. I know his game there now. He'll be coming back at you there now, saying that was my idea. Now where's all my royalties?
Wait, what's the story with the royalties for this? Is this going on Spotify?
we also get millions of views worldwide each year.
Nah, I'm only playing.
Trevor.
Yeah.
I'd love to ask you just about the vibe in CMAC right now. A great up and coming gym, obviously. Lads, including yourself, Alex, Kaya, Keith, everybody like that. It seems like collectively you're in a real good place right now. You say you had a lot of negativity around you. What I see in CMAC is a lot of positivity. A lot of people who want to build themselves.
Oh no, it's not them, by the way.
No, I know you weren't talking about them. I know. Maybe the other past relationships that you have, but guess what I'm saying is in CMAC, it's quite the opposite. It's a positive vibe, and it seems like a great gym to go in there and work in, and then you're all kind of working for the same goal as well. What's the vibe like there right now?
It's great. It's a great vibe, isn't it? Like, everyone has a plan. Like, like I say, like Jordan has his own career he wants to do. Alex does as well. Keith has his own. I have my own. Kaya does. And it's just, that's how it works. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody has the same goal, obviously, to be the best. But obviously, everybody else has their own roots. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So that's how it should be. You know what I mean? That's how you'll get a good vibe if you understand it. That's like, everything is great down there. Do you know what I mean? we're just training every day, man. That's it. You just gotta work. You know what I mean? You just gotta work. You gotta block out the noise. You gotta stay positive. You know, if you have a positive mindset, positive things are gonna happen. You know what I mean? If you're too negative and stuff like that, man, you're gonna be absolutely brutal. You know what I mean? So, Alex has a good system in, and it's working well. So I mean, now I actually look very good. You know what I mean? He has a very good system being put in there. You know what I mean? Because I've realized my potential. Do you know what I mean? I've realized my potential, and like it's psychotic type of thing. You know what I mean? I've never thought that I would be like this. You know what I mean? I never thought that I'd be throwing over 100 punches in one round in my last pro debut. Do you know what I mean? I was throwing loads of punches. I never thought I'd ever do that. So he has a good system in place. Everyone else doing great. Jordan won his fight there last week. You know, it was last week, was it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely smoked your man. So, I don't know. Your man only had like 20 shots or something, 20 strikes, and then Jordan was like 188. I don't know how the flip that could even happen. And your man was a featherweight.
Yeah, it's up in weight class too.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, wow, it's crazy. So yeah, a lot of good things are happening in our club, and just thank God. We just thank God that everything is going well. And next week you're gonna see it from Keith as well, and you're gonna see it from me too. It's gonna be a great night. It's gonna be a great night. I just can't wait. But the club is doing great. I feel like the up and coming is. I don't think we're an up and coming club. To be fair, if you look at amateur titles and everything, like, you know, we have a lot of amateur titles. You know what I mean? So yeah, we could say up and coming for a professional side of things. Yeah, definitely. But when it comes to the amateurs, like, we have that experience. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I can't wait to see how the club's gonna be in the next few years. Can't wait.
It's exciting times, Trevor, and as you mentioned, yourself and Keith both competing on the card this coming weekend. You know, what are you expecting from? I know Norbert. He's competed at Cage Warriors Academy. He has, he's undefeated as an amateur. He's won a couple of titles under the Cage Warriors Academy banner too. What are you expecting from him, and how do you see the fight playing out on Saturday night in the RDS?
I expect from I expect him to I'm expecting him to give me a hard time. Like, I mean, you're gonna have to really fight me. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna have to really fight me too, because I'm going there and I'm going to bring you to deep water. So, you know, I'm expecting him to really bring in a high level, you know, professional fighting style. That's what I'm expecting. So that's because that's what I trained for. How the fight goes, I'm going to win for sure. I just don't think he's gonna survive, though. I don't think he's gonna survive. He's just not gonna survive. Nah, he's not gonna survive. He's not gonna survive. Nah, it's not gonna survive. It's gonna be a rough night for him. I couldn't care less. You know what I mean? Couldn't really care less about the undefeated stuff and all. You know what I mean? That doesn't really matter in amateur. You know what I'm saying? You need to, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I have a lot of respect for him, though, because I know he's a Cage Warriors champion, is it?
He's won titles at amateur on Cage Warriors Academy.
Yeah, that's very good. Like I like that stuff. You know, it's good to hear those things. You know what I mean? But nah, he's not gonna survive. No, he won't survive. Definitely not. I'm not sure what round. I would love to do 3 rounds because I train for 3 rounds. But like, I don't know, man. He has to find a way to survive because I'm going in there, guns blazing. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, anyways. But definitely 2-0 next week, and Keito's winning his fight as well. So definitely going to be 2 wins for SevereMMA for sure.
Trevor, I can't wait to see you in there. It's been a long time coming, finally putting on the yellow gloves and following in the footsteps of many other Irish greats. Look, all the best with the water loading. It sounds like it won't be a fun few days, but hopefully you have some company this time. Hopefully your parents are around and not on holidays.
Stop. Please, may they be here, yeah, for sure.
And look, all the best with the rest of the week, and we'll see you on Saturday night, and all the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for coming on.
All right, boys, let's cover a little bit more recent action from this past weekend. Big win. The Denis Frimpong train rides on. Fantastic run that Denis is on. We spoke to him a little while back, obviously fighting now as a dad. He took on Peter Gabal at Oktagon 75. Caoilte, the typical build-up for a Denis Frimpong fight here. Lots of shit talk, lots of feinting at the weigh-ins, lots of throwing the knees up, throwing the kicks up, a little bit of abuse to the other guy's team. That's what we get when we see Denis Frimpong. But you can do all of that chit chat outside the octagon, but you still have to get inside, and you still have to perform. And he did just that. Obviously, a tricky first round for him. But I think what kind of we're seeing in the trend in what Denis Frimpong brings to the table is, he might fall a little bit behind in fights, but it's not about how you start; it's how you finish. And he always finishes strong, and he seems to bring his opponents into deep waters and drown them and get the finish. And that's exactly what he did against Peter Gabal this past weekend.
Yeah, that's 2 fights in a row now. I feel like it's a similar type of performance where maybe the first round they were laying it on thick and they were going for him, and then they began to slow down and he was chipping away, getting the shots in, and then he just starts hunting for the finish. And it's quite good to see, because I think at the beginning of his career there was a bit of criticism towards maybe he could have finished fights and he didn't, and it went to the decision. I know commentary had that a few times. Now he's actually added that to his game. He's like, okay, well, he's chipping away, he's beating these guys, and he's finishing them. And it's a massive addition, because now he was already making waves in Oktagon, and now he's really up there. And that win, it's a huge win, because both of them are in the rankings. He's gone out there, he's finished him, he's got people talking. Fair play to the other guy, Gabal, because he actually he was a good dance partner both in the ring and outside. He had a bit of the shit talk back, he had the ping pong thing, all sorts. It was it was really good. It added a bit of build up to the fight. And yeah, Denis has gone out there now and he's backed up all the talk that he'd be doing and put himself in such a incredible position in Oktagon. I don't even know where's next. He could be one fight away from a title. He is really after
it's got to be that though, hasn't it? It's either got to be a number one contendership fight or a title fight either. Like, you know what I mean? I think the last couple of wins for him have been really good. He's building that hype around his name as well, Caoilte. So I mean, I definitely think it has to be one or the other, doesn't it?
I agree completely. They build guys. I think they build guys up sometimes based on not just talent or just by how popular they can be. Denis has both in Oktagon right now. He's got talent, he's proven in the cage, he's finishing guys, and he's got a following in Oktagon, whether some fans of Oktagon like it or not. He's kind of the perfect villain, and he's creating this story himself inside there, and he could well and truly get a title fight next. Stranger things have happened, and if it's not a title fight, number one contender fight for sure, I imagine.
Big time, Mandy. Your thoughts? I know you're.
Yeah, no, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he looked absolutely phenomenal. Considering that, like, your man, I'm forgetting the opponent's name now, Gabal.
Pierre Gabal.
He was landing huge shots. Like that overhand left was landing a lot early doors, and I thought that Frimpong adapted well to start evading that, and then really poured the pressure on. And look, he has a very Marmite, I would say, personality to a lot of people, where he's in your face, he's talking shit, he's braggadocious, or maybe not braggadocious, but like he gets the people going, as as a movie quote once said. But like, I think as far as the title next, I don't know. I think he's doing a brilliant job, but just in the sense that, like, Oktagon have rankings. Like right now he's ranked 10th. You've got like Richie Smullen fighting Ivan Buchinger. That's number 1 versus number 5. I think Frimpong called out Gökhan Aksu after the fight, and he it was in German, so I didn't understand it, but it seemed that he kind of accepted. I think another fight can really put him into that position, because I think he's been fighting guys that were like, you don't really know where they stand within Oktagon, whereas now he's making himself undeniable inside the cage. So I think that one more fight and then you can push for the big fight. I wouldn't be throwing him into, I mean, you could, but like I wouldn't be throwing him into a title fight just yet. But like he's on that path, he's on the trajectory 100%. And to be fair to him, like I'll hold my hand up. I didn't expect when we saw him in Oktagon Challenge or earlier in his career, I didn't expect him to be kind of rising to this level. And I think he's only getting better, despite like he's in his early 30s now. Like I think he's still getting better, and with each fight he's getting better and better. He looks a lot smoother, looks a lot more fluid, and I think that he will continue to progress and to for his skills to continue to grow. So
yeah, it's such a force of nature at lightweight too, because he's a big lad and he cuts a lot of weight there as well. So
and like, people talk about like mental warfare and stuff. For the most part, I think it's kind of bullshit. I don't think it is with him. I think he breaks lads mentally.
I do. I think there is a level to it, but you have to be good at it. It is a particular skill, and Denis definitely does have something there, but it's no good. I think the key ingredient is going out there and getting the win. It's no good doing that kind of stuff if you're not. And then look at, there may come a time where he doesn't win and he's already lost as well, but it hasn't changed. That's what works for him. That's probably something that Denis needs to get himself into the correct mindset as well, coming into these fights. And look at, if it ain't I mean, some people like it, some people don't. I don't. It's like at the end of the day, we're in there fucking fist fighting. You know what I mean? So shit is going to be talked before and after fights. It's the nature of the beast. I wouldn't give two craps about it. I think it adds to the interest of the fight, and you're going to be in for a show whenever Denis Frimpong is on the card, or sometimes there's always a threat of a fight breaking out before the actual real fight breaks out too. So look at credit where credit is due. Denis is on the rise there, and fair play to him. There's going to be some big opportunities coming his way next, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening. Andy, I do want to talk to you about another fight before we move to our last interview of the day. That's Jordan Bradshaw over in Aries. Put on a very, very good performance as well. Up a weight class, we were talking to Trevor about that too. He was giving Jordan his kudos as well, going out there and just a dominating display, up a weight class. And, it's really, really impressive stuff from the CMAC, man.
Yeah, very impressive. That's back-to-back now in the space of a few months under the Aries banner since making his pro debut. Looks really, really good. I think, his grappling, his striking. I think it was a very impressive performance from Jordan Bradshaw. And congratulations to Jordan Bradshaw. I saw he got engaged there in the aftermath. So it's been a great few weeks from him. Very interested to see, kind of where he goes from here. He spoke about, they put out a video in the aftermath. He's kind of walking out from the cage to the dressing room, and he's saying, keep him active. He wants to be back in there early 2026 and at bantamweight. Obviously, this one at featherweight, as you mentioned. So, yeah, look, we kind of haven't really seen many fighters from Ireland, going the Aries route to date. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see, how that plays out for him. Like what I don't know, like how quickly.
In terms of roadmaps, though, what we are seeing is, UFC are giving Aries fighters these kind of opportunities as well. Like, and I remember Caoilte, we were talking to Jordan at Cage Legacy last year as well, and he was kind of showcasing his frustration and not getting the fights. He had a couple of fights lined up and they didn't work out as well. So it is nice to kind of see him get these opportunities. Now, of course, like Andy did say, you want to see future opportunities coming at his actual weight class, and that's 135. But the roadmap is there for success for Jordan. And, if he goes out there and he stays winning and has good level of competition over there in Aries Fighting Championships, you never know. Coming towards the end of 2026, if he does get the level of activity that he wants, there may be opportunities for a Contender Series. There may be opportunities for the UFC. They're coming back to Paris quite often too. So, it's exciting times for Jordan as well. He's kind of getting the action that he's wanted for quite some time.
Yeah, it's in an active promotion. It's like the French version of Cage Warriors in a way, because they've got that roadmap. You've got guys getting into the UFC, and the other side of it, I love how it's a little bit different. France, considering, I guess, the reach that Aries have with the MMA fan base in France, it's a great place to start building a fan base because, let's be real, French MMA is booming. And if they know you and they get behind you, it's a very good place to build a fan base. So if he's able to get that going over there by competing actively over there and beating some of the local talent, which is what he has been doing, it can only be a win-win situation for him. So yeah, very promising. We'll see what I guess the next year holds, but hopefully they can just get him down at bantamweight and remaining active there as well.
100%. Let's move on to our last interview of the day. A long podcast. We do appreciate everybody sticking around as well, but obviously lots to talk about and a big card coming up here as well. But our last interview of the day is a good one. Jamie Abbott-Bissett fighting in his own kind of domestic fight as well. A rematch per se. Obviously, he's fighting Matthew Friel. Let's head on over to hear what Jamie has to say about that fight and some other things as well. Now, we'd like to welcome Jamie Abbott-Bissett onto the podcast ahead of his big Cage Warriors fight this coming weekend. Trojans amount of technical difficulties to make this happen, but we're here, Jamie, finally. Kilkenny caught a couple of strays. I was going to actually start off with that anyway, because I don't know whether you listen to, but a lot of people who listen to the podcast know how much disdain Andy Stevenson has for cultures. Now, me and Caoilte, proud cultures, and he was like, I don't know whether I want to have Jamie on because he's spending too much time down in Kilkenny. And I think he's becoming a bit of a culture, and I don't know, how's the adjustment been? We were talking about it a little bit now. We had to kind of talk Andy around here, proud Dublin man, obviously.
Right, yeah.
And we're here now anyway, Jamie, after a little bit of experience the Kilkenny Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'm still on North Side. I'm still from Dublin, still represent, but I'm full time down here, living down here, and the bugger life is good. I like it.
Well, we'll know you really will have changed if we see you drinking pints of Guinness and wearing blue cut jeans.
I actually have changed. I'm drinking pints of Smithwick's now. I am, so I think I'm officially a Kilkenny man now.
I love it. I love it. How was the adjustment been? I guess. Look at obviously you started off your professional career, Jamie, really, really well. 2 great wins under the Cage Warriors banner. Lots of changes, obviously going down to Kilkenny and everything like that. How has the adjustment been moving from amateur into the professional ranks?
A lot better, yeah. To be honest, I think it is. It's better just to. I just feel like the pro suits me more. I feel like an amateur, I remember one year I had 10 fights in 1 year. Obviously that's great to get the experience in and stuff, but it is a bit mental. Sure, how. Not saying that I didn't give it me all for every fight, but how can you fully focus or fully lock in for nearly a fight every month, and with the weight cut as well and stuff, and sure how hard are you training then in between fights and all, and I do actually like it. Just I've only had 1 fight last year and 2 this year. I would like to be a little bit more active now, but it's, I don't like saying the word fight camp, but it is actually nice just to kind of set yourself a goal for 12 weeks time. This is the main fight, the only priority. There's not another fight booked after or something like that, or it's not an IMAF where you're going to the leading fight, prepping yourself to fight every day or something like that. It's nice just to focus on the one fight and literally treating it as more professionally, Yeah,
100%. Obviously, your debut was over a year ago, and it was in April 2024. You took on Paweł Jaworski, knockout, 2nd round. I mean, in terms of debuts on the professional ranks, and wanting to perform on a big card like that, it couldn't have went any better for you, in your opinion. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I'm sure even I fought everyone at amateur, that flyweight and bantamweight, and then even going into that, I was coming off a 3-fight losing streak, at amateur, and it never really affected me mentally now, to be honest. But it is kind of in the back of your mind, you're jeez, I haven't even won a fight in a few months. I'm going pro here, and I wasn't fighting on just a regional show, against some bum, I know it was your man's debut as well, but still a big opportunity, Cage Warriors, and Andy obviously felt that I was good enough and gave me the chance, and I was yeah, 100%. That's all I ever wanted to do when I first started, was just go pro and kind of do this route as well. You just, I don't know, maybe it's just because the lads in my gym did it as well, like with Redzer and Siri and that, and they all went to Cage Warriors and then the UFC, but it still is like the direct route. It is the feeder for the UFC. It is like they sent over like 100 and like 15 people. I don't know what it's on now, but the amount they send to the UFC, and for me, I just feel like it's the place where you want to be, like, you know.
100%, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's strange you brought up, obviously how your amateur career finished, and obviously it was 3 tough losses for you. We actually spoke to a guy who's been doing a lot of work with you in Damien McKenna.
Oh yeah.
Before he'll be on the podcast, obviously with you this week as well, and he had a similar enough kind of scenario too. 2 tough losses going in onto into the professional ranks, and he said, he felt he needed a little bit of time, maybe just to get a couple of more fights before taking that opportunity on Cage Warriors. You yourself, you said it didn't really affect you that much because obviously it's not. You want to kind of pick up a head of steam coming into your professional debut. Did it add extra pressure for you to come in and perform? By the sounds of things, it didn't affect you all that much.
Yeah, like, I know it's a bit cliche to say, but like pressure makes diamonds and all that. But like, you do kind of want a bit of pressure, or like, sure, if you weren't nervous going in, like, it wouldn't be worth it, would it? Like, or if you weren't a little bit like fucking, I have to do this, I have to do it. Like, you don't want to be going in lackadaisy, like, or too confident. So obviously I'd love to win every fight now, like, fuck's sake. And it's not as if I was getting like lumped around. Like my last amateur fight was like it's a close enough fight against Damien McKenna, and like I was just sick. The decision didn't get me way, but I didn't get like battered. Like, and just straight after I was like, oh fuck's sake, I'd love to do that again, or I want to go again. Obviously freaked that I lost, but I never thought it was like not good enough. Like, I always knew, we'll go again.
100%. Then moving on, it was almost a year since we seen you again. Obviously, you're talking about having a bunch of activity in the amateur ranks. You waited a year to make your second fight in Cage Warriors as well. That was against Charlie Falco, much more experienced guy, I guess, than your first opponent. And I think that was kind of due to the kind of level that you showed in your debut. The confidence, I think, maybe that you have in yourself, your gym has in you, and Cage Warriors have to go in there and take on a guy who's had a lot more professional fights than you. You went in and put on another tremendous performance too, Jamie. You must have been very happy with how that performance went with Charlie Falco as well.
Yeah, I was delighted. Yeah, when I think he fought a few fights at strawweight, but he's still like, I think he was a black belt, and he still had like the 10 pro fights, and like, not that, I don't think, like, ring rust is obviously a little thing, but it could last for 10 seconds, or it could last a whole fight if you let it get to you. But like, yeah, the year break between my pro debut and my second pro fight, I was a little bit like, oh Jesus, who am I gonna get? Like, and then I got him with like 10 pro fights, and I was like, oh sure, like, it doesn't really matter, like I think I'm good enough. Like, sure, I'm already here, and I'm getting another shot in Cage Warriors, so 100%, like, whoever they put in front of me, I'm gonna fight them. Like I'm never ever gonna say no to a fight in my life, like, unless it's a fucking welterweight or something.
Training up in Team Rhino, obviously, as well, you're travelling up and down from Kilkenny. This card, very strong atmosphere in the gym right now, and kind of a lot of guys that are going in the same direction, Jamie. And it must be a good feeling to be kind of getting stuck in there with the lads. Kind of all working towards your own separate goals again, but working together to try and achieve those goals too. What's it like being in there? What's the atmosphere like in the gym right now?
Yeah, it's deadly. It is like, sure, we have Louis only at the, like, coming off a pro win there. He's 3-0. I'm looking to catch up with him, I am. And then Aaron Henry only won there last week. He's fucking, like, he's training years. His record, it doesn't look the best now on paper, but like, I keep you well ready to go pro now as well, like at the end of this year or the start of next year and stuff. And then we have, obviously, all of us. You have Darby training out in America at the minute, but he's still one of us. Like, obviously, be deadly to fight in the same card as him. And then you have Saul, and Jir, and then Damien just be coming down as well on Fridays to spar and stuff. And the atmosphere is deadly, and I don't know, like, we've all been there, like, for how many years, and since we were literally amateurs, since before we all won belts, and now we're all still there and still grinding, and it's still the same vibe. But it's going to be cool now in the next few years to see, like, it'll just be normal now if like we're all in the UFC or wherever we all are. It'll be cool. Just like it'll just be the norm, like because we all know where we started, and it'll be cool to see how far we all get now the next year or two.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, no, it is very exciting. You know, you mentioned Damien. I mentioned him as well earlier on. He's coming down and doing some work with you. He's involved in a big domestic clash, obviously, with Kikyo. You have a big domestic clash yourself in a fight. You know, it's always something that gets us excited. It gets the fans excited as well, Jamie. So, I mean, obviously, you know, you said you're not going to turn down fights or anything like that, but the fact that this, you know, this has a lot of, you know, domestic hype per se, you know, going in against a lad like Matthew Friel, does that get you more excited as well to kind of test the waters with another Irish kind of guy in your weight class, as opposed to maybe fighting somebody who might be lesser known by an Irish audience or by the Irish fans?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember like even from my last fight there, like Matthew was down sparring. He was down. It's on my Instagram. Like he was down sparring, and then they're only saying each other, "Oh, we shouldn't fight each other at the start of our careers and all." We've already fought each other, and then, but like the minute I get a contract, like I don't know. The minute I get like a name, I just think I'm gonna kill them. Like you have to have that mentality. Like, but no, it is good that it's. Yeah, I know Keith and Damien. That's the big domestic fight, I think. But so is me and Matthew. It's the only other one I'm pretty sure on the card. The only other Irish v Irish, like. And I think it's actually a very good fight for me because there's a bit of a mental battle there because he already has a win over me at amateur, and we've trained together as well. Me and him went against each other so many times in jiu-jitsu as well, so I can't wait just to show myself like the level I'm at now compared to when we last fought like 6 years ago or something. So yeah, I can't wait.
Do you take much from that, Jamie? Like obviously you have fought in a cage, but it was a long time ago. But like considering you were literally training together on the mats and by the sounds of it talking about not fighting each other, like does that give you insights into, you know, where you can exploit holes in his game? And I suppose, you know, probably being honest, like there's probably areas where you're like, okay, I gotta watch out for him in this regard where he's strong at or whatever.
Yeah. 100%. Like, and yeah, as you say, like vice versa. He'd be thinking like he obviously thinks he's probably better in some areas. I obviously think I'm better in some areas, and that's the beauty about it, isn't it? We can find out like on the night, and it's not really bad blood. It's just competition. It's just like we're about flyweights, we're about in Ireland. Sure, we're gonna have to fight at some point. Like, and I wouldn't take too much from training or even from the fight back in the day because sure people can improve a lot in a couple of months or a year or two. So, no, I think it's good. I can't wait for it. You know, it's good competition.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's great. I always love seeing domestic clashes. I think, you know, your first fight was brilliant. You, of course, have been in some other amazing, you know, domestic showdowns over the years at amateur, and I'm sure this will be another one. You mentioned one of your other teammates there a few minutes ago in Aaron Henry, who had an amazing submission win there in Iúr just last weekend, and also, you know, it was his first win as a dad. I know you're very close to him, but also, you know, we must extend a huge congratulations to yourself. You know, an expecting father. Does that add a little bit of extra motivation coming into this one with the baby on the way?
Yeah, 100%. That it's given me the motivation to fucking bang out a few fights before he comes in January. But I know, yeah, I can't wait. And yeah, it's still I don't know, I think for the fella it doesn't really feel that real yet because I'm not carrying the baby, like, you know, she's carrying it every day, and I can still bounce to the gym and stuff, so it's not affecting me yet. But no, I can't wait for January. I'll take a month or two off in January and February to enjoy that because yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I've obviously seen my sister Nadine having her kid, and my other sister has a kid, Courtney, and just even seeing Aaron now as well with his kid and how he's handling it, like he's doing it like not a bother to him. Like he just took it into a stride. So I can't wait to do that myself. You've
been an uncle for a while now. You've seen them grow up. Everything. You've had to play the uncle role. Now you're playing the dad role. Do you think that's kind of helped you kind of prepare for what's ahead of you now? You've seen what they've gone through. So
yeah,
now it's your turn.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of just like a little tester, you know what I mean? Especially because I have a niece and a nephew. So I got to see what it's like to be like to look after a little girl and a little boy. So now I was well prepared. Yeah, I can't wait.
And it's that extra bit more.
Which are you more nervous for, fighting or having the baby?
The baby.
Jamie, you're competing.
More excited as well for the baby. To be honest, like can't wait for that.
You're competing at flyweight, and like you mentioned in the gym, that like you're surrounded by all other people who are around similar divisions, all come up at the same time. But one thing in particular, I think that's special about Team Rhino and the division that you're competing in. I guess you got both yourself and Jura both trying to get it to that title in Cage Warriors, is the fact that Neil Seery from Team Rhino years and years ago went in there and won that title in the Cage Warriors flyweight division. Do you guys nearly have that as a target of being like one of you want to be the next one to, I guess, follow in those footsteps, but also win that title back and bring it back to Team Rhino like it was, what was it, years upon years ago? I don't have the date offhand.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like when you put when you think about it like that, yeah, like I'd love to do something like that because like when I first started, I only started when I was 16. I'm 25 now, and I remember Siri was just on the end of his UFC career. I was only training a few months and like just training with him, and I remember I thought it was the coolest thing ever, like sparring a UFC fighter. And I only have one cauliflower. That's because of him, and I'm training 10 years now, just from that fucking cunt. Like, but like no, that'd be that. Like I remember, like yeah, sure. I used to like obviously I looked up to him like the minute I started in the gym. So that'd be a real surreal moment for the team as well. I'd take for Andy as well. He'd love it. Like just it'd be full circle to get that Cage Warriors flyweight title again and bring it back to the gym.
Bit of bragging rights over Neil Seery too, I imagine, for you guys, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Come here, you're in the limelight now with the Cage Warriors. I guess for a while there, when you were, I guess a bit less active, your sister was nearly taking the spotlight. She was winning world championships. She was going off competing and doing all sorts in two-way classes. And now, what's it like to you've taken the step ahead. You're at the front and taking the shine now in Cage Warriors, undefeated and staying very active as well. What's that like to have, I guess, nearly the shoes have switched a little bit for in, I guess, the last few months.
Yeah. Sure, we were always like that. Like she'd win a gold medal one weekend, I'd win two the next weekend, and then the exact same. I'd win a fight, or she'd go up a weight and win a belt. I'm like, you little cunt. Like we always had that little sibling rivalry, but no, I think it just comes in waves, doesn't it? Really, and sure, I always knew I was better, anyways.
Can we expect to see Nadine out soon? Obviously, it was probably a disappointing result there back in Cage Conflict earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Will she be back out soon, or what's the news on Nadine?
Like she was just obviously disappointed. Like me personally, I think it was a bit too quick. Like obviously she's the male version. I mean, she's probably tougher than me, to be honest. I'm more of a softie. She's like just stoic and she's just so laid back. But like she fucking only had the kid. Like I think she trained for like 4 weeks, done the Irish Open, got gold at that. And I was like, she just doesn't lose it, does she? Like the little genetic freak. And then she went just straight into fight camp, but still full-time mammy, hands-on, breastfeeding and all. Like it takes it out of you, it does, and like it's easier for the fellas. Like sure, when I have my kid, like I'll still be able to train and all. Like sure, I couldn't imagine what it'd be like for a woman. So maybe she just needed an extra bit of time off. But it's very unfortunate that she had to take a loss as well on the way. But she's back training now. Anyway, it's the last while. She's still doing boxing. She's doing boxing the last while now with Andy's nephew, and she's back to training jiu-jitsu and MMA. So I don't think the end of the year, but maybe next year she might get the motivation again. And when he's fully a bit more grown up as well, and he's off the boob, stops fucking taking her energy.
Jamie, the last night, obviously it was an amazing night for yourself in Dublin. The last time out in the RDS, it was a heartbreaking one for, I suppose, for the gym and for James. I know he's been dealing with some injuries as well. He's obviously not on this card. What's the what What do you reckon is next for James? Is it like, will we see him back in for a title immediately? What do you think will be next?
I don't know. Like if he had obviously defended that, like he was 100. Like I thought he should have I thought he should have got a shot after winning the belt. Like there's no need for it to be like having lads hanging around and defending the belt and stuff. I don't really think like when they're at that level. But if he had defended it, he would have definitely got a shot. So it's just a bit of a cunt now that like you have to take that L, and you know yourself with an MMA, like one loss maybe sets you back 3 or 4 fights, or maybe a year's time. You might only need 1 or 2 more wins, but that could, like, how long will that take? Like another 12-week camp, another few months break, then another fight. So I don't know. He's back in the gym training though, he is, and he's back teaching and stuff. So I don't know when he's gonna fight next. Like he is that level though. Like maybe 1 win. Like he should deserve a shot. Like there is, I know fucking. He's only fought the best of the best, and his losses are to like either ex-champions or UFC fighters. So it is it's a bit of a tough one. It is like.
Yeah.
I'd like to hope like 1 solid win and he's right back in there. Or gets a shot even.
Yeah, absolutely. Jer, you know, it's again big night for the gym again this time out. Jer fighting Johnny Tuma. Look, last time out he said it himself. I think Andy said it as well. It just seemed to be maybe a game plan issue, or not a game plan issue, but maybe Jer kind of going off script and putting on a bit of a show for the fans. He likes to kind of throw caution to the wind and just brawl out for the raucous crowd. What can we expect from Jared this time? Because I feel like when he puts it together, when he fights technically, when he sticks to the plan, he can be a world beater. But sometimes he just likes to say fuck it and and throw hands. What can we expect this time? Will we see a more composed Jer Harris this time out?
Yeah, hopefully. That last fight, like, I just think, it just was like it was just a bit of a lackluster performance. Like, sure, remember his fight against Ryan Hewitt and like the shots he was throwing, like head kicks, spinning elbows, hitting takedowns and all, hitting everything, and he was on fire. And then like even you seen like against Wamatam, I think he went a little bit then, like he was switching off, but he's still good enough to like choke him and sub a black belt. So like he obviously like he has it in the locker, and like I'd love to like if he just lands hands in your man, like he will level him, like, you know, like he like in the gym, like he's very good in the feature, and I don't think he's really shown it too much. Like I know he's had that Giovanni fight, that was a very good fight. Like that was very good back and forward. But I think this fella, if he puts hands on him, like he will knock him out, like definitely.
Well, Jamie, look, a very, very important night again for the gym. I would have usually transitioned to Saul here, but it seems as of right now anyway, it's up in the air. To the best of the information that I have at the moment is that Aidan Lee is out of the fight. They've been looking for an opponent for Saul. I don't know, you know, by the time this comes out, a few days will have passed, so I don't know if Saul is still on the card. I hope he is. But look, I think it's still a very, very you know, big night for the gym with yourself and Jer and Damien and hopefully Saul on the card. What's going to be the difference between, you know, the Jamie Abbott-Bissett versus Matthew Friel match the fight the last time versus this time? Like what? Obviously, you're going to be confident going into this, and but like, what do you feel is different? You know, now having fought him a number of years ago versus, you know, you've developed, he's developed, you've trained together. What's going to be the difference maker?
Maybe just the fact it's at pro, just pro rule set. Like, I think my style is a lot better at pro. Like, I can do it all. Like, I'm very good standing I'm very good in the clinch, wrestling on the ground. But I don't know, I just think I have more ways to win. I pro, and then he does. Like, to be honest, I think he has one or two ways that he can beat me, but I don't think he will. Like, I think I've definitely like way more ways to win than he does. So, and I think I'm better as well. So it's about proving it now.
Well, look, Jamie, I'm buzzing for it. I know the lads are too. Thanks so much for joining us. I mean, it was the Kilkenny Wi-Fi that scuppered us at the start of this, trying to get this going. Ian's Wi-Fi, he must be getting Kilkenny Wi-Fi all the way from Canada.
Must be Kilkenny Wi-Fi in Canada. It's been shocking. Shocking.
There's no K-on down here. It's bollocks. It is.
But look,
it's a cow and antenna on top of this.
Well, look, Jamie, thanks so much for joining us today. And look, we'll see you again after the fight, and all the best this weekend. Cage Warriors 194 live on UFC Fight Pass. You can watch all the lads competing, and I'm very much looking forward to it all going down in the RDS. Thanks for joining the show today, Jamie.
Thanks a lot for having us, lads. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the night. Sound.
All right, let's talk a little bit about our fighting championships. Caoilte took place last weekend as well. A couple of interesting fights on that card, a couple of big results as well. Any standouts, any performances you want to talk about there?
Yeah, plenty. Look, Decky always puts on a good card, and they're always fantastic to watch. Full of finishes, well matched, you name it. But top two, can't overlook them. Shane Dunn, big win for him, title fight, moved to 7-1 with a win over Adrian Barrow in the main event for the bantamweight belt. Matty O'Rourke, he got a finish over Calum Leach. I believe he missed weight, so I think he was already the champion, but so he wasn't eligible for the championship, but Calum Leach was. Regardless, Matty got the win, and I don't even know how that works. I must actually ask Decky about that. But
just trying to figure that out myself. So
yeah, it's like you're the champion, you miss weight, you can't be. I don't know, but anyway, so big win for him as well. Ryan Kelly looked really impressive. He got a first round submission rear naked choke over Shane Smith, who returned after years upon years. He was fighting back in the days where you're looking at boards.e to find out results. So good to see him back in there, but a tough one for him. And Ryan Kelly looked brilliant. Aaron Henry, who we mentioned in the interview earlier, brilliant. He's had a tough run at amateur. You know, he's lost a couple of fights. He's always in absolute crackers, but he showed his level, and knee bar submission for him. And I think it was just after the birth of his son, I think it was, as was mentioned in the Jamie Abbott-Bissett interview. So a lovely moment for him as well, and a big win, winning outside the cage, winning inside the cage. Outside of that, then Nathan Chambers looked fantastic. He's a real prospect to watch. Oisin Daly with a very good win over Jed Paolo. Decision win for him. And yeah, overall, brilliant one. Brilliant card overall. And looking forward to the next. Or as always, they always deliver.
100%. Last but not least, so we'll talk about obviously the big news coming out from the PFL Dubai card is the fallout of Caolan Loughran and Lewis McGrillen. Disappointing one. Obviously, the news kind of came through last week. There was some inklings or some cryptic messages from Caolan Loughran, I think, on the lead up to the actual announcement itself. I will read the statement that Lewis McGrillen put out on his Instagram about that. He said, "Not beating around the bush and straight up, I can't make the dance on October 3rd. One thing is for sure, I'm more more devastated, I guess. Sorry, I'm not used to this young slang here. Devastated and wounded than anyone will ever be. This is what I live for. Complications behind closed doors, and I forced to pull from the date. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but that's that. I've gone in and fought with no arms, no legs, just my teeth, mate. The fridge can How
do you fight? How do you fight with just your teeth?
I don't know either. The fridge, meaning Caolan Loughran, give me stick all he wants. Easy to suddenly pipe up now. We will reschedule 110%, but don't call me wet when one round of any fight I've had is worth more than your whole career. Little bit much there at the end for me for a guy who's just pulled out of a fight. But look, he's obviously emotional that he doesn't get the opportunity to go in there. But Andy, what the pullout? One man's loss is another man's gain, and as I guess one fan's loss is another fan's gain, because we do have a mouth-watering clash that's going to happen in replacement of Lewis McGrillen. We do have Jack Cartwright stepping in, and it's a fantastic fight for Caolan as well. It's a really good matchup. And obviously unfortunate, and talking to Caolan, and hopefully we'll have him on an episode of the Auld Triangle here before his fight to discuss it in more detail. But talking to him, He's had last three of his 4 fights all late pullouts. This is nothing new to him. He's used to it. Like I said to him, it's like, kind of like water off a duck's back for him now, but a really mouth-watering clash here. Obviously, we were looking forward to the McGrillen fight, the Jack Cartwright fight. You know, as terms of replacements, is a damn good replacement and one that we can really look forward to.
Yeah, that's how I view it too. Obviously, like I would have preferred the McGrillen fight, just given, you know, obviously McGrillen is PFL European champion. I think it's a bigger fight. I think he's got way more eyes on him, and is you know, way more relevant right now than Jack Cartwright. So it's a pity that couldn't be made. There was also a lot of heat going into it, and just a great back and forth. One thing I will say just before I talk about Jack Cartwright, he did say, I know he stopped. It descended into a bit of just like calling him a little beg and stuff. But he did say, we'll fight in December and you can have your, as he put it, clout fight Grizzla night. But that does mean that he seems interested in that fight, whatever that may mean down the line. To me, when I thought about this, like Jack Cartwright to me is like, or was the Lewis McGrillen before there ever was a Lewis McGrillen. Like if you think back to 2019. Jack Cartwright came on the scene. He fought in that one-night tournament in Cage Warriors. He won the bantamweight title. He was knocking lads out for fun. And he just had this look about him where he's got the shaved head. He had the rat tail kind of coming out the back down his neck. And he was just like this bizarre character that was just fucking terrifying. He went on then to defend the title a number of times. I remember there was that weird, I think it was his last Cage Warriors fight. It was a Sylvester Miller fight where there was the headbutts, which was just kind of a bizarre thing. And then he disappeared for like a year. He came back onto the Contender Series. He lost that fight and then he disappeared again. But, he reemerged there, was it last year in Oktagon, had that kind of big moment in the cage with Jonas Magard, and now he went out to fight and he lost that fight, but then he won after that. And yeah, like it's a fight that, you know, had it been made a number of years ago, obviously like Caoilte was only a probably amateur at that time or barely even a pro, you'd be all over it. But it's still, I think it has a bit of juice to it still. I think a lot of people in Ireland and England, etc., will still revere Jack Cartwright. Now, not the same as a number of years ago. But then again, like it was kind of
an opportunity for him to come in and,
100%
as well to kind of.
The only thing I'd say though is that he was scheduled twice to fight for the Oktagon title, and has subsequently parted ways with Oktagon, which has allowed him to take this fight, under the PFL banner. So, given that Caoilte has just, dealt with an opponent pulling out, there may be a little bit of trepidation or hesitation, or not hesitation, but like, you might be a bit nervous, like hoping that Cartwright can make it to the dance. Hopefully, like I say, I think it was an injury. Hopefully he's resolved that in the meantime, and will be good to go for next Friday, or Friday week. But yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a banger of a fight. And yeah, it's not quite the McGrillen fight, but that'll always be there later on. And I think it's still a very tough test for Caoilte, against a veteran of the UK MMA scene.
Yeah, I'm sure you're just excited about it as well, Caoilte. I think it is a fantastic matchup as well. Obviously, we'll probably talk about it a little bit more on the lead up to it as well. But obviously, disappointing for Caoilte to not get the McGrillen fight. There was a little bit of a hype around it, but I'm sure you're just as excited for the Cartwright fight too, eh?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm just happy he's on the card now, to be honest. And I heard the McGrillen fight was after falling out. I was a bit conscious that, that would be a bit of a dampener to the card, to be honest with you, because that was so hyped. It was such an exciting one. The shit talk, everything. The story itself really kind of helped. But now you've got another one. And I love the story behind. You can build a story behind this one. It's a top opponent, someone who would have been tipped for the UFC in the past. Caoilte obviously coming out of the UFC, someone who's competed in Cage Warriors, won the belt. There's so many different storylines, and I really like it. I think it's a good fight. Stylistically, I think they match up pretty well as well, and it could make for an exciting one. So, just happy still in the card. Hopefully, they can run the McGrillen one back. Maybe, who knows, if Caoilte gets the win, he could end up pushing on for a title instead of taking the McGrillen one. But let's see. It's just good he's on the card and it's staying together. But overall, yeah, I'm buzzing for it.
100%. Like I said, we will be back next week. We'll probably talk to Caoilte ahead of that big PFL Dubai card, if all things go to plan. And I think it'll kind of cap off what's a big period of time for Irish mixed martial arts. Obviously, the main focus this coming weekend is Cage Warriors 194 from the RDS in Dublin. Andy Stevenson will be there. He'll be on the mic. He'll be doing the post-fight interviews. You can check out all of those on SevereMMA.com.
Might have to fight Solomon if this right.
Yeah, you might have to fucking start getting the stakes into you, Stevenson. Get the stakes into you there. And but maybe they might put it in. If you're on the bill, they'll have to make it interim title. Interim title, that's what we say.
I'll ask for whatever Vosgrown from Oktagon stakes are. I'll get a few of those.
Yeah, 100%. Before he throws anybody else under, but it seems to be a trend now. A couple of shots there before we wrap it up. But that is episode 91 of the Owl Triangle podcast. Thanks everybody for listening. All is left for us to do is for Caoilte to see us out.
Gur míle maith agaibh agus long go fóill.